Hello, hello. I'm live. Okay. We're good. We're live. What is up? I'm excited. I'm hyped. I want to beat this game. I'm going to listen to Summoning Insight while I try to do it. All right, here we go. Let's move Vampire Survivors over as much as we can. I'm also going to move this, if it'll let me. And hide it behind that. Okay. Gucci. All right. What do I need to do in this stupid game? I'm sorry. It's not stupid. It's a good game. So I need to go. So I'm pretty sure to get this, I have to get to level. I have to survive for 30 minutes on Capella Magna. So let's do that. I think I'm just going to do a random character. Oh, I have to pay to unlock random. That's stupid. That's really dumb. All right. I'm going to play a random character. Start. We're going to go to Capella Magna. We're not doing Hyper or Hurry. We're doing Arcanas. I need this book. Are there any relics in any of the other stages? Just to double check. No. Okay. All right. Let's start Summoning Insight, and let's try to get this stupid book.
As a coach, right? You want to come here. You want to say, okay, right? Like you know, you put the worst situation for me. You know, I can come up with a solution to this, and it's going to be great.
Wait, why am I a question mark?
And it was worse than you could.
I don't get to know which character I am. This is the bird,
this is
by the way.
Another episode of Summoning Insight, of course. As anyone who watched
That's
any of the past shows
stupid.
or indeed the live show monitored would know, brought to you by Esports Bet. There is still time, even though there is no worlds, don't get tricked by the name, to enter the World's Prediction Series.
We'll get Shadow Pinion. I think it's the best of those three choices.
Sports game, the CSGO major. Look, I know TI's finished as well, but there will be Dota 2 tournaments, Rainbow Six, Valorant. But if you don't know,
I think Rune Tracer is the best choice here.
Game and tournament in the street of esports, FIFA.
Bro.
It's all sorts of smaller games. Quake, I think there's even on
fucking-
there.
Even more
So,
League of Legends stuff at the tier 2.
there'll be some stuff.
I'll be right back.
And
I'm
also, I
disgusted.
don't know whether they will offer odds, but put it this way: if you don't know, Chinese League of Legends always has off-season stuff, Demacia Cup, etc., NEST. I don't know whether they'll have those on there, but sometimes they do. So, okay, obviously, if you want to enter that competition, it's free to enter anyway. Anyone right now could already have gone and signed up with an account. But if you want to get a head start on the people who joined ages ago and didn't ever hear this commercial, go to the Esports Bet Discord.
I can't believe that fucking happened. I'll be right back.
Message the mod mill and they'll give you 50,000 DJT, which is essentially 50 times the original entry that you got when you entered for free way back when. So you can essentially sort of like, doesn't matter that you weren't playing since April or whatever, you can just get in the mix immediately. And again, in that scenario, here's the difference between when you actually bet with crypto and when you use the DJT. With the DJT, I would go wild on a bunch of underdogs and pick crazy ones that you think can happen and go all in on big picks. Because the idea there is you're just trying to accumulate the DJT to win the up to 300,000 USDT first place, a big part of the 10 million USDT prize pool. On that one, just have fun with it. Maybe even think of it as like test out the service, see if you like it, and then later in the episode, we'll mention some of the deposit bonuses if you want to bet with crypto. Right, Monty, I've actually got quite an interesting, I don't know if you saw this, but normally when a story comes out around a roster move, it's just the most bare bones basic details. Like, right, this team's interested in this player. Doesn't usually have the price. It's usually just like, oh, they're making a bid, but it hasn't gone through yet. Did you see this story that came out the other day on Blix GG about the El Yoya move?
Yep.
So I thought we had to discuss this, mate. Like, I've never seen a story. It's very well done if it's all true. In terms of the sheer amount of detail, like this guy actually managed to cover like the whole year's sort of scenario for El Yoya. And in doing so, I have to say, the first thing you come away with as conclusion is, holy fuck, whoever's running Mad Lions is incompetent. Like, they just fumbled the bag over and over again in this story. Like, I'll give you some details, guys. So it says that actually between the two splits, because remember, Mad Lions failed the spring split, if you remember, didn't make playoffs. So after that split, it just says a European club offered 2.2 million euros for El Yoya, who, by the way, contract ends at the end of 2 years from now, so in 2024. So what's wild about that is, first of all, it was implied Mad Lions was trying to extend him past 2024, which is in 2 years. So they're just trying to lock him in for like, what's the max you can do? 4 in league?
Three. So I think you
another
would have
year.
to
Okay,
do a
we're not gonna
1-year
talk about what just
extension
happened. Moving
from
on.
now would be the maximum.
Moving on from
I'm
that.
pretty sure players can't have active contracts longer than
Christ.
3 years.
So they wanted to just lock him down, basically. But it's made clear in this article, not only is there interest, but he wanted to go. Now, what I find interesting is on that first detail, when they just say a European club, well, logically, it wasn't G2.
My stream
Because
is live,
G2 at
isn't it?
Yankos, they won the split.
No.
Could it have been
Is it not?
Fnatic? They had that Razork thing going on.
Yep.
Could it have been
Seems likely.
Vitality? They had the situation when they
also
wanted to get
seems
rid of
like a
self-made.
good option.
These
I'm
seem like
confused.
obvious ones to me. Now, here's the key detail, guys.
It
We
should
can
be
put a pin in
sending
that in a minute and
video.
go back to it. Like, interesting. What if someone signed it for 2.2 million euros? But this is where Mad Lions
is.
fumbled the bag. It's like, guys, do you not know what's going on in the world outside of esports? You're not paying any attention. Do you not know what's going on with the economies? Because this is the mental part, Monty. Because they turned that down, now a lot of fans are going to go, well, they got to Worlds. It was the right move, right? No. Because since Elyoya still wants to leave and doesn't want to sign an extension,
Okay.
and even it's implied by the way they phrase it here, it wasn't just like, I'd like to leave. It's like, I want to leave. Like, I need to leave. I want to go to... It's like that. You can see they suddenly all of a sudden get really motivated in selling him, right? So then the
No.
detail goes... With teams tightening their budget, right, Mad Lions decide to explore the market for Elyoya. Initial asking price, 800,000 euros. Now, you don't have to be get an
don't
abacus
understand
out
why
here,
this is
guys.
here.
Right, 2.2 million turned down. Starting price, 800k, right? Already, that should be where, no joke, whether they sell him or not, or whatever they sell him for. Whoever runs Mad Lions, if you just heard what I just told you right now, you should be having like a sit down. It's like,
Why
right,
did
we're
it
going to have to
not
run through our whole org. We're
use
going to have
the
to find
event
out
that I
where
made?
the point in
Oh
the
my
circuit
God,
broke, like
everything,
what went
bro.
wrong here, because
I hate
And
everything.
by the way, the spoiler
I
is,
mean-
as it's implied here, they're not even getting that, and now there's this whole thing where who the fuck knows what's going to happen. So, mate, this
think-
looks really bad.
From the information I have, I
See,
think
'cause,
he's
like, now
probably
the
going to stay on Mad
monetization is
Lions.
off, like-
I knew
Seems
some
likely,
of the
right?
details of this, but not all of them. And also, you have to consider that he's probably on a pretty low deal for Mad Lions because he's still on his initial deal that they made with him. I can't imagine that he's taking that expensive for them. So with the market going down and them not being able to get this $2.2 million buyout, I think they probably just keep him until the end of his contract or try and sell him at the end of next year and see if there is more of a market for him. I think the problem here is that 2.2 million is excessive, I think, by any standards. Like, Schalke got rid of Abadage to 100 Thieves for like,
like, I had
around
this
a
all
million,
set
I
up
think,
for a
maybe a little
reason.
more, maybe a little
Would've been
less.
cool if you would've fucking
A
used
million
it.
has been like a pretty standard buyout
Dude,
for
bear
big
in mind,
name
this is
players.
only buyout, remember. We're only talking to
Right.
pay the club to get it. This is like perks money, mate. This is the
So-
sort of shit you pay for like the guy's
Where
superstar
is
to go
the
to
freaking
LCS.
thumbnail that
So
I made?
my thought is maybe it's more because his salary is low, so that's like most of the cost would
Really?
just be the buyout at that point in time. But it is very weird that this would be, double what some other players would have cost. And I wonder if that's why people were turning it down. Seems like it returning to 800K is more a normal value, I would say, for a buyout, not 2.2. So it seems like things have
No,
come
but
down
here's
to
the
earth a
problem,
little bit.
Monty. The buyout was never 2.2. They were offered 2.2. That's the part people are missing. They had 2.2 in their hand, and they went, you know what? I reckon I could get 4. And then, like 6 months later, can I have 800K, please? And then the ridiculous thing
the
is,
thumbnail is
'cause if you
vanished.
don't know,
I
guys,
just-
this is a multi-bag fumble.
This is
Then
the stuff
they
that
start the
just
price
makes me
themselves at
angry,
800K.
man.
So G2 goes, brilliant, yeah, actually, I wanted to get rid of Yankos. Can I have Elyoya? And they go, did I say 800K? I meant 1.1K, 1.1 million. And then G2 just goes, no thanks then. So then they're like, it's all right, guys. We got Elyoya still. Like, this is so whack. Like, you guys don't know business. Like, what I don't get about this is one thing I'm sick and tired of, Monty. Because I always say, there aren't real businessmen in esports. There's, like, the ones at the absolute top of esports in a real industry would be in the middle. Because, obviously, a lot of the money started 10 years ago or the last couple of years, or they came from some other corporate world, and this is where they're sort of flexing their muscle. We don't have, like, super wheelers and dealers like you have at the top of sports. And the reason you know is this. One key principle you must know in any negotiation is who has the leverage and how can it be exploited. If there's only one person bidding,
Bro, I
you
changed
can't
the
just keep putting the
game.
price up and up and up and up if they can say no. They can just leave that at any point in time, and then you're just a fool. Like, it's not like some fucking bidding war in an auction. You can just take the end offer. Like, this is one area I find so weird, because if you don't understand, if you're a fan, the key detail you're going to miss on this story goes like this, because I want to talk in a minute about some of the G2 angle as well, because, as usual, the nephews are actually just wild.
I don't know what's going on, but okay.
Basically, Monty,
think
the
it's
logic of the
fixed.
League of Legends community goes like this. If I like the player and think he should go to a team, you should tell him for peanuts. But if I actually don't like your org, you should just pay through the nose no matter who you're paying for. It's like there's no rhyme or reason business-wise. So the key point that people are missing business-wise is this. If you are teams like Rogue and Mad Lions, you want to sell these players for as much as possible. Now, the key thing there is, I know you don't want to sell the player. In the dream world, you'd keep all these players, Inspired, Larson, Odoamne, of course. But the point is, if the big org comes and they're going to pay, this is a perfect example right here, Monty, way over the odds. Like, they're going to pay probably twice what they should pay. You have to take it. Like, I'll just make an analogy to when we do the bets. Sometimes we take bets on teams we do not think are going to win. But I'll tell you what, if there's a team that should be 2.5 odds, Monty, and I can get 5 odds, I'll just take that all day long. Because the logic goes, if I accurately assess those 2.5, and I take 5 odds like 50 times, in the long run, I make out like a bandit. I don't need to know that they'll win. They will, as long as it's 2.5. So the maddest part about this to me is, like, if you're Mad Lions, like, there was only one way this ended. You either looked like a genius and someone did bid more than 2.2, or you just ended up looking silly like this. Because that was the other thing. Because there wasn't some insane buyer's market where it's like people are going crazy with the bids. It wasn't it was the other way around, rather. It wasn't the case that when you said no to the 2.2, someone else was like, well, I'll do 2. You know what I mean? It went from 2.2 to nothing to 800. Like, this is like... There's no logic here, because here's what you have to think of if you're a fan of Mad Lions. Yeah, it'll suck to lose El Yoya. He probably was the best player on Mad Lions, by the way. It's why I kept saying the whole time, it should probably be El Yoya who's the MVP if it's from that team, not Niski. Spoiler, did he like Worlds, cocksuckers? That's who Niski is. That's who's been his whole fucking career. I know, listen, I like I Will Dominate Stream too, but I don't have to believe all the things he says. So then what I would say is this, if you like Mad Lions, the best thing that could have happened would be they sell El Yoya for 2.2 million euros with their coaching staff. Dude, they not only could get someone who's like 80% of an El Yoya straight away, but then they could even have re-upped like another bit. You could have got like an armor replacement. Dude, you could have probably got Odoamne yourself. You could have just had him come to your team, get an El Yoya. Suddenly you're in business. You might win the next split. That's what you actually wanted, because this isn't an org that has the billions and billions. Like, you have to get the money from somewhere if you want to compete with G2. And you can't, by the way, as Rogue's shown you, but through successfully pivoting, you can't rely on one good lineup, because as soon as your lineup gets too good, this happened in Counter-Strike for years, Monty. The small team can never win by just getting a good player, because the big team can buy the player. You always have to win by being smarter and shrewder with your deals.
I mean, for what it's worth, obviously, like, some people over at Overactive Media, the ownership group around this, have actually denied that they received any kind of,
This is all speculation, of course. We're not claiming that we corroborate the report. We're just going on what's publicly reported.
Right. So they have, just to be clear, they have denied it and said, Mad Lions has never sought or received any offers for El Yoya prior to this year. But I don't think the claim was it was prior to this year. I think it was halfway through this year, and I think it was Vitality, like you're saying.
Oh, no, what's great about that, Monty, is this is a new trick in esports. They've taken it from politics. The clever thing you do is you deny something no one
I have to
ever
get
claimed. I'll
Tirana's
give you an
box to
example.
level
It's
9.
good
I
on
know
CS4.
that
In
is an
CS4,
unlock.
There was a big furore over an obvious conflict of interest that the guy who owned GGBet, a betting website, has bought Na'Vi, and he now owns Na'Vi and a betting website. Right, here's how Na'Vi addressed it publicly. It's a total lie that GGBet owns Na'Vi. Can you see what they've done there, guys? That's just called basic misdirection. Like, no one ever claimed that. And what's better is you've even sort of lied in the gist, because the gist of it is, well, yeah, I wasn't concerned about the company owning it. I was concerned about the guy who owns the company. And him, by the way, he has even more of an interest in some sense. So, yeah, that's like the new move, sadly, because as you say, this entire article says it's about 2022. It has nothing to do with any past year. So the problem is, though, here's why it works, though, Monty. An idiot's not going to think through what you've just said. They're just going to go, oh, they said the report was false. And it'll sort of have the effect, but they haven't technically lied, but they'll have the same effect as if they had denied it outright and it was legit, you know?
Right, and they said it wasn't for $2 million, and they haven't received an offer or for $2 million. So for what that's worth, The org denies it. Also, El Yoyo's contract actually expires at the end of next year, so he only has 1 more year on his deal. So that's probably
See, that would
why
make
they're
more
trying
sense.
To,
I
trying
think
to
that,
extend him.
Yeah, I think the problem there is I think they just miswrote that in the article because it sounded weird to me. Like, why would there be? Because the pressure obviously would be if there's 1 year left, and next year, if you're a fan again and you're casual, here's the problem if you're Mad Lions. Not only does El Yoya have all the power in his hand next year if he plays well, like he can just leave for free at the end of the year, but that means that the second the spring split begins, you're not only now really courting anyone who wants to buy El Yoya, but the price is going down as the weeks go in. Like as the split goes by, suddenly it'll be like 400k. It might be nothing at the end because it becomes nothing once he gets to the off season. So that's why it would make way more sense that it's the end of next year. Like it just seemed weird that it said 2024. That's why I asked about all of these bloody contracts.
Yeah, it's November 20th, 2023 is when
might be a
his contract
typo on that.
expires. Yeah, so look, I think the whole thing sounds ridiculous. People are saying it did and didn't happen. I don't know. I haven't myself heard. I've known about some of these like possible yo-yo moves because I know he's been such a hot commodity during this off season, and he has been sought out by G2. I know that's true, but I don't know about a previous buyout attempt and what the buyout attempt of that, the amount of that could have been. So very, very interesting if that did in fact happen, though. Seems like, especially Mad Lions, that hasn't had an issue selling players and then finding new ones. I mean, Mad Lions is the team that punches above their weight when it comes to the amount of money that they spend. And I would assume that as long as Mac continues to be there, that's going to continue to be true. And they haven't wanted to spend, and that's totally fine. A lot of other teams prefer to operate in the red. Mad Lions, I think, has gotten great value out of the rosters and the amount of salary that they're willing to put down for their players. So I would have thought they would have sold him. As
then
you
we'll
say,
flip it the other side, because obviously the brilliant thing here is the team that wanted him, G2, had their own reasons to want a jungler, didn't they? Which is they want to get rid of Jankos. And by the way, they've even done that in a really interesting way, where like they haven't just said like, look, we're open to offers, but let's see, maybe we keep him. They've sort of made it clear that like, look, we want him out no matter. This is like when they kicked Reckless, if people don't know. Like I had heard behind the scenes from legit sources, oh no, we're kicking him no matter what. Like whether someone signs him or not, he ain't playing for G2 again. That's almost the weird vibe you get from this, and I've heard behind the scenes, like maybe they cater to Caps now. Caps runs the show. I mean, he's the obvious person left that you care about, so maybe he just doesn't want to. But this is what I can't handle. So at the same time, guys, everyone's talking about what a scum org G2 is. By the way, G2 trying to buy this guy for like that amount of money. Meanwhile, Jankos, who earlier this year, if you even go like 2 weeks into the summer split, everyone was still saying is the #1 Western jungler, easily the best in Europe. He's looked great in the spring.
True.
He's even had some Smurf games in summer. Right, this guy, now when he's going to be sold, right, supposedly the asking price is only €1 million. And everyone's going like, oh, they've got him in prison. This is fucked up, man. Like, first of all, he re-signed with G2 previously. He chose to be in this position. And then secondly, this is the maddest of all, right? So people
there's
are
the Blue Grim Reaper
millions
guy.
and millions for El Yoya.
Gotta start
They can't
making
get
my way
1
up.
million for a Jankos that in this scenario is like 6 months removed or 4 months removed from being one of the best players in the West. Now we're all going to act like he's washed. That's a totally reasonable. By the way, I wouldn't at the beginning of the off-season, Monty, be putting my price much lower than that. I would wait and see, because in my opinion, someone buying Jankos is the last piece to make themselves like a championship roster. Like that's how you go right to the top. It's even a scenario where who knows what your mid lane is like. Maybe that makes your mid lane look like 1.5 times better next split. Like I think that's a piece that absolutely you can sell for that. And quite frankly,
I agree. I don't think Jankos played bad enough to deserve to leave G2.
First of all, don't tell me it's a prison.
He's top 3 probably at worst. He's top 5 junglers in EU at worst. He's probably top 3, even on a down year.
Oh, what's that? Another 100,000 this month. Yeah, put it in the back room. I'm not playing Link at the moment. Give me a fucking break. And then secondly, I'll just throw this out there. The reason why it's so whack, because it's all anti-Carlos sentiment, by the way, that came way before this. It was mainly because of the perks and the reckless moves where they were popular players, and Carlos pissed people off with the way he dealt with them. Right, here's how you know it's just anti-Carlos sentiment. Which player ever did end up in prison in contract in G2? Reckless didn't. That sort of happened. By the way, Reckless himself admitted on stream, Monty, that the reason he didn't get to a better team, like a non-ERL team, is because he didn't want G2 to make any money, and then they didn't want him to like go to certain teams. It's like, so he admitted he was being a twat as well. So I don't even know how people are sad about that one. And then secondly, you have the scenario where Mickey X was briefly in contract prison until they sold him to XL, which turned out to be like a career-changing move again. It seems, I mean, he's even coming back for fuck's sake. Guys, they all hate G2 so much.
Is the Grim Reaper guy not coming?
Back a year later. Are you kidding me?
Confused. There he is. He's supposed to be coming, right?
No one wanted Wonder. That was
I'm trying to bait him into coming up here and getting bopped by this thing.
Because of Carlos and
I don't know if that'll work, though.
Like, all these players got sold to the teams, not necessarily that they wanted it first, but to top teams. And by the way, about the best teams in those scenarios you could have expected. So the real joke is this. I'll just flip it back. And this is where you're all going to be in a real quandary.
I can't believe I'm just a question mark walking around.
Yeah, but G2 is evil. Oh, no. Wait a second. You all love Fnatic. Mate, I actually saw, I'm not joking, comments that were like, I guess the only ethical org left is Fnatic. It's like, my God. They don't even know. They don't even know. They're just bad at being unethical, you morons. That's why they have to flip it that they're the virtue signals. Everyone's poaching. How do you think you got all your rosters for about 5 years with Expectia? So
nice, that works. Okay, that's a new strat to deal with the Blue Grim Reaper guy. Just chill on this thing and wait.
His name was Niski. He was in Fnatic contract prison for a whole split. He couldn't play. And then what do you know? He eventually got sold to Mad Lions and he was able to go to Worlds. So basically, if it was up to Fnatic, who knows? He maybe never went. So the joke is, Rogue does refuse to sell to people in Europe and sell to America for millions and millions. And deny people a chance, by the way, to go and make super teams on G2 and win everything. People like Fnatic do lock you in a contract prison and go, no, till they pay, you don't get out. Yeah. Meanwhile, G2 thus far has never locked anyone in contract prison as far as I can tell.
Yeah,
has anyone?
It does look like they're going to be shopping Jankos around, and I think Jankos has said that he only gets about 40% of his salary if he's benched, but I don't really feel bad for him, guys, because everybody's like, oh, they should pay him his full salary, fully guaranteed. I'm gonna make some other arguments for you here. One of them is that Jankos is a very popular streamer, and I would imagine he can make more than money this way because he'll have 40% of his salary plus be able to stream full time.
Yep.
Which will definitely get him above.
Which I think is probably what he should do.
Streamer, right?
He should just become a streamer.
It's probably financially beneficial for him to be full-time streaming while on a 40% rate. Secondly, for those of you who are arguing,
I think he could probably build a big stream if he wanted to.
Let me tell you a story about Overwatch League where the players all had guaranteed money.
Especially if he could get co-streaming rights.
In Overwatch League would bench themselves because they didn't want to play and because they didn't want the pressure.
If the team had like a losing record, it was going really badly. Yeah.
Yes, or the players would start to bench themselves and the teams would be on the hook. And we could never, ever, ever say which players were benching themselves. We just have to be on broadcast when I was broadcast. Whoa, this guy's just not playing this week. And the teams never made any announcements and were never held accountable.
The maddest one, because I can say this.
So fuck anyone who says these players should have guaranteed money. It ruined like 2 years of the Overwatch
here's the worst one. The worst one, I won't say the name, but if you know Overwatch, you might be able to guess. The worst one was a guy benched himself and just went back to Korea while someone's getting all the money.
Yep.
That's mental. He wasn't even on the continent. Wasn't even sat in the other room like waiting to come in. He was like, see ya, I'm off. So anyway,
that's so messed up.
Right. First of all, what does that even mean? Have you noticed? I said this years ago. I nailed it. The most annoying thing about people who know nothing about a topic is the word should. What the fuck does should mean? Right? Hey, guy who's making a team where you lose millions of dollars to put together one of the best teams in Europe so I can watch a really good match of a video game. You should just pay him more money. For what reason? You just should. I feel as though you should. Who are you again? Just a guy watching the game, but I think you should. And you know what? More than just I think you should, which is a perfectly fine and valid opinion for a pleb to have, you're a piece of shit morally if you don't. Morally, what moral precept have I violated? Just morally, you're just a piece of shit human being. What is this? What narrative are we coming up with here? Because think of this. Here's the checkmate, Jankos. If you're watching, homie, here's the checkmate, my dude.
Okay.
If it's
where else in life do you get to do no work and get 40% of your salary? Like, just tell me. You don't. So he's lucky that he gets paid at all if he isn't
40%,
working.
And that's so little. Just tell us what the 100% figure is. As soon as I know that, maybe I feel sorry for you. Spoiler, I don't feel sorry for you if it was like 30K a month and you got 40%.
Also, Jankos, at the same time, why don't you go ahead and tell us how many Twitch subs you get and what your revenue per hour of streaming to 15,000 concurrent fans is. And we'll do a little math for you, okay? We'll do it. So we'll calculate your per hour streaming money right now. We're going to multiply that by 40 if you're a full-time streamer. And then we're going to see if the 40% of your salary plus that number is higher or lower than 100% of your gamer salary. Should be easy, right? There you go.
There's another thing is, look, I'm actually going to do
is.
some content obviously with some like agents where I probe them and ask them some tough questions and give them their chance to say their part and give their perspective and all that jazz. Because one thing I'm really sick and tired of, Monty, I notice they all do this as well, right? When they're talking about like a 27-year-old or 25-year-old pro, like years in the game, 3-4 contracts into the thing, getting paid millions of dollars, got an agent, by the way. You notice they never mention that part. Got an agent, somebody who's literally full-time their job to negotiate his contracts, figure out what terms you care about, make sure you agree with these terms. I've got a lawyer here and everything. We all agree that we're all signed the same. No, what they make it sound like, Monty, is that in 2022, Yankos is a 16-year-old kid who just turned 17 tomorrow, and he gets taken into a
I have to try to
bar by
survive
some
for 30
shady
minutes,
G2
by the way.
executive in a fucking Range
I don't
Rover
think that's
who
going
goes,
to be
"Come on,
easy.
kid, sign on
I'm
the
going to
back
need
of this
some
fucking
weapon
map, kid. I give
evos
you everything.
quickly.
I'm the devil." Like, that's not what's going on. The joke about this is, and this is my comment on Twitter, where the fuck are the agents of Reckless and Yankos? Let me know that right now. I want to see those guys coming out explaining what a bad deal this is. Because what's great is I can just reply to that guy, just as I did to this other guy on Twitter, and just go, okay, explain what you mean by that. What pressure did someone put on? Because someone was saying, like, they put pressure on people to not have an agent to join their org. Said, if you haven't joined their org, what pressure could they put on you? Madly radio silence. Like, oh, you mean they just said to you in words, please don't join with this agent? Like, there's so much fuckery on that topic, because that's the thing they always do, Monty. They always use the word kids. Because when you hear kids, you think of that 17-year-old who's like, oh, why, Dad? What's going on? Reckless, you know, Reckless is like 10 years deep in the game, guys.
Yeah.
Reckless has been a top player since 2014. It's mental, innit? I know.
Look,
like, at what point in time are these guys just innocent babes in the wood? The real thing that pisses me off is this, Monty. I've actually, for real, known top pro players that were friends of mine that I begged to take different terms on deals. Because I knew, oh, you're never going to handle these streaming hours, mate. Oh, come on, get a clause in your... literally, you're getting so much on this deal. Take a bit less and ask for like a no-trade clause or something. You can't be benched or something. And they were like, nah, I'll never be benched. I'm really good. They never do it. All pros do is this. I want the highest base salary. Base, by the way, a load of them will even turn down like great deals that are structured like quite fairly. You know, if you don't make playoffs, you get less. But if you make playoffs, you get 1 times. They all want the guaranteed base money, and if they get that, they just wait. And half the time, the joke is they don't even know what the rest of their contract is. They never actually were listening.
Yeah, and look, I think that there's two different things that are happening here. So one of them is like, I think Reckless has been complaining more from, I haven't watched every second of Yankos' stream, but from the clips I've seen of Yankos,
wasn't really like hardcore complaining. It was more just explaining what the situation is. More his fans that took it and ran with it, you know.
Yeah, I actually haven't heard Yankos really complaining about it either. Like, I think he's just been very forthright about it, and it seems to me that his core desire is just to continue to play professionally. So as far as like calling Yankos out, I don't think, you know, I think there's a point that we made.
Just using him as a stand-in for any pro that complains about contracts in this scenario.
So let's be clear about Yankos. Like, I don't want to unnecessarily antagonize him. I think he's probably still making great money. I'm just saying, like, it's not, I don't think, too big of a deal in terms of a hit to his finances. But at the same time, you know, I think one thing that would probably be helpful for players is having a cap on their buyouts. And that's something that can be negotiated within their contracts so that you don't end up in a situation, if you really want to play professionally, or you put a timer on the buyout, right? Where you say, after the buyout begins, it can be whatever you say it is for 3 months, but after the end of those 3 months, it has to go down to this cap or something like that, or it has to be reduced by X percentage. I think there are mechanisms you can put in place so that you can make sure your competitive career continues. Because I think we all want to
not doing too hot.
Play next year. He had a great year overall, and it's a bummer and also weird that this is happening with G2, frankly, because I don't think he was terrible by any means. And I think he was pretty instrumental in some of their success. I think part of this is that Caps just renegotiated a 3-year deal, and there's probably something with that. So Caps is now contracted through the end of 2025. That means that he is the centerpiece of G2, guys. They wanted to get him on a long-term deal before anyone else. I imagine that was extremely expensive, and also they either logically, they either don't have money to maintain some of these contracts with some of these big name players, or Caps has said he doesn't want to play with them. Like, one of these things must be true, because otherwise it doesn't logically make sense why you would get rid of Yankos and also potentially Targamas, who I think had a phenomenal rookie year. It seems like there are some weird other forces at play in what's going on with G2.
I heard that the Targamas one is that Hansama wanted to play with Mickey, and that like, they're reuniting that bot lane, and that was why that move's happening apparently.
Fair enough.
By the way, the one I do want to pivot to is the Reckless angle, because I thought his was the silliest of all. Again, funnily enough, actually, if you actually listen to what the players are saying, by the way, they're not the ones complaining that much. It's more that when they drop... Here's the problem. This is what stands are like. You know what they're like from the K-pop and Owl world, mate? You don't have to actually say, like, I'm really upset about this. You can just go, that sucks, doesn't it? And then they go, see, I could tell, because they're all, like, way too parasocially involved. They're like, I could see it was, like, breaking his heart inside, and I could... You know, I knew that we had to speak on his behalf and stop this org. So basically, right, on the Reckless one, he said one of the stupidest fucking premises I've ever heard, where he said that if he was to get benched, his salary went down to 6%, Monty. But he admitted himself, are you ready? You'll love this. This is almost like comedy that you'd admit this yourself. He admits himself that he signed a shitty contract, and then he actually used the line, proving what I said earlier. None of it would have mattered if I'd have smurfed. You fucking idiot. You're signing contracts where it's only good if you smurf. What are you even saying out loud? Like, the dumb part about that is, like, if people don't know, bearing in mind that move was to replace Perks and make Carlos look like a G, you had G2 over a fucking barrel. I guarantee you Reckless could have gotten that up to, like, half or 25% or 40 or something. If that was his one condition and he was willing to take a little bit, like, he could easily have renegotiated that deal. That means Reckless, this is the point I was making about them not being innocent. You do know that when you get past, here's the thing people might not know, this detail might change something for some people out there. You know when you get past the contract, do you know why they make you on some contracts an initial every page, guys? To show you've actually fucking read it. You're not supposed to do it like installing Windows, like, oh, scroll to the bottom of this, accept all terms. What the hell? How am I supposed to know? Like, this is a deal worth millions of dollars, and you're not even having either a lawyer read it, agent read it. You don't read it yourself and figure out what's going on.
There's a couple things here, right? Like, even if your agent, you know, really wanted you to sign this, because if fighting back against this clause would lower your potential payment, right? So they could say, an org might say, for example, well, I'm going to pay you $1 million, and if you get benched, you only get 6%. But if you negotiate, they might say, well, you know, if you want more of a guarantee if you're benched, then we have to lower your rate to 800K, right? And if you're relatively confident as a player or as an agent that they're not going to get benched, then you might not take the lower deal. Or your agent might, in fact, advise you to not take the lower deal because they get a higher cut of the $1 million, right? Mm-hmm. Or they get more money, the same cut, the same percentage cut, but they get more money if it's $1 million. Now, there are two other things. Or the second thing, rather, is that if you have an agent, you should also independently have a lawyer to review these clauses for you and go over them.
Oh, no, none of them get that part, mate. They're all acting like their agent. They don't get, by the way, that at times, as Monty alluded to with the buyout, sometimes your agent can have a conflict of interest in this scenario, where he might gain more from certain deals than the one that you want, and you think, well, he's just working on my behalf. Yeah, in theory, but sometimes there's just a crossroads, like you're saying, where they'll incentivize to go a different way.
Are good lawyers expensive? Yes, they are. But if you are a millionaire, paying a good lawyer $500 an hour, or, you know, whatever, $5,000 to go over your contract can be worth its weight in gold.
Mate.
Because you have to remember that, you know, in that relationship with a lawyer, you are the only client, and they're not going to get a cut of the contract. They are merely reviewing it and bringing up any problematic terms to you, in which case you can make a decision then in coordination between your lawyer and your agent and, you know, the team you're negotiating against. So I don't understand necessarily why players don't do this. Maybe they did. Maybe they did do it, and they just have questionable lawyers, or maybe their lawyers were like, you shouldn't sign this, and then they signed it anyway. We can't know, right? We can't know.
I mean, in his case, as far as I know, like I said, he admits that he just signed a bad contract and just thought, well, that'll never affect me, which is what a lot of pros, unfortunately, do think, you know.
Yeah. So this is all just industry stuff, and it becomes very silly. I agree with you. It is kind of funky that this continues to go on. Should we talk about the World Finals that just happened a couple days ago? Because I wanted to knock out some of the historical.
Don't want to talk about with Peter?
Oh, we can talk about it with Peter too. About
Because I'd be very
history
interested to
of
see what
everything.
his take is. He usually has his own sort of take on which lanes
I
they
mean,
run
I
through and
think-
how they play the game.
Yeah, I think what I wanted to get before Peter came on was just to talk about what this means in a historical context.
Well, it probably is the greatest fucking underdog Cinderella run of all time in League of Legends. Let's be real.
I mean, it's fucking insane. I'd be curious if you think it is how it ranks up in the rest of the entire esports universe as well, because it must be among the most impressive across all esports.
Especially because, like, I mean, some of this is specific to the Riot circuit. Like, let's be real. If this was like Dota or CSGO, DRX would be at Worlds anyway, just by virtue of being like the 6th best Korean team. Like, if you're from the major region, that's how it works in those games. But in League of Legends, a game where, I remember it was only a few years ago, we even went to 4 slots. So that means a few years ago, this run is literally impossible. It could never happen. But in a world where you come from the 4th seat, like, this is the key detail you have to understand. It's mainly the circuit that makes it impossible. What makes it impossible is, with the way the playoffs went in Korea, they weren't supposed to even get out the regional.
No.
Then they get out the regional, then they were in the plains, remember? There's a world in the plains where they were supposed to come second. They managed to beat RNG, so you've already exceeded expectations there. Then you go to the group.
Okay, I got that thing to level
group on
9,
paper,
so
you are
that's an
supposed to
unlock
come
that I
out-
needed.
You're supposed to come out second place, and it's supposed to be like battle rogue for second place. Instead, you battle rogue for first place. Okay, you get first place. By the way, if first place gets you the reigning world champions, that's already not like easy, but okay, not the end of the world. By the way, I will say there were still people. Jensen had EDG winning and maybe even going to the finals. So it's not like everyone thought that DRX was going to win that one. But then the Gen G one
DRX
is
was
impossible.
the betting underdog in that match.
How do
They
you
were, they were
upgrade
2.5
the
or something, yeah. And then the Gen G
time
one on
stop
paper,
thing?
if you just look how the year went, that's the most impossible of them all that people don't get. And then, oh yeah, I forgot to even mention, and in the EDG series, you even get that mad inhibit, so you're down 0-2. You have to reverse sweep and basically win like 4 games almost. Then you beat Gen G in a 3-2-1, in a mental one in itself, where again, the maddest thing about that one is, just like the EDG series, first 2
Clock
games, it looks like
Lancet.
you're going to go down 0-2.
Oh, you need the silver
and then
ring and the
again,
gold ring.
And then you go
Oh.
to the finals, and
Okay.
they're
I
always
mean, I can get
fucking
those.
behind in the
Oh, not on
series.
this map, though.
They're
You have to
never
beat the
ones
map first.
leading.
Oh.
So, like, the amazing thing
I
about this
died.
team, Monty,
Whoops.
was when they were winning the games early, we all identified, like, yeah, they're actually really good if they sort of, like, get a bit ahead. Mate, this team actually showed a mad flaw when they were behind as well. Like, the amount of games they were able to hang around in, the amount of times where the other team led and they sort of just, like, normally it's the great teams that do this, not like the flukes. Normally it's the great team that can sort of, like, know in a game where I'm not doing that well, if I can sort of just hang on long enough, you might make a mistake and let me back in the game. Dude, they were doing that to some of the best teams in the world. It was crazy to me. Like, I can't believe any of these matches. Like, even when I think back now, they shouldn't win
What
any of
is
these games.
happening, bro?
They shouldn't be at Worlds. They shouldn't win any of these series. So
They're all
it's
moving
gotta be up
so
there with one of the
fast. I'm like
all-time
turbo
ones.
dead.
I think so.
I mean, yeah. Look,
I need to get to
even
that
as far as
chest,
underdogs,
but
because to describe this to
don't
you,
know
if
that
you
I
guys didn't
can.
watch the LCK. In a nutshell, here's how it was. This team was 9
Oh
and
my
9 in
God,
best
I'm
of
just clicking
threes.
on
They
thing. I
were
can't see where my
22 and
cursor is, so I clicked on
23
something I
in
didn't want
terms of
to.
maps. So they actually lost
there we
more
go.
games than they won in the summer split. Most of the games that they won came in the first round robin in summer when they were playing. I'm sure you guys probably saw either the games or the highlights of like Kingin with his like flash ult Ornn
Oh.
engages.
The Scrim
Or
Reaper
you
got
saw
to me.
like Callista, Mumu,
I couldn't even see him.
dominating the game from Deft and Barrel, and then they really struggled with the meta as it came later on with the kind of Zeri and Sivir compositions. And I think part of this, in retrospect, is that Deft was a very low economy AD carry for this team in a meta where high economy, it was a lot about high economy ADCs, right? If you actually take a look at the summer stats by ADC, you know, Deft is the lowest gold percentage ADC in the entire league. So it made it even lower than Ghost. But he was still, when it came to actual damage percentage, he was like middle of the pack in damage percent post 15. He was right in the middle of the league in CS percentage after 15. He was lowest in the league. So Deft was getting a lot of value by kind of like being slightly behind in lane early and then not really getting any resources from his team, but still outputting much more damage than you would expect from the gold that he was receiving. And this has really gone back to, I think Deft historically, like if you're a newer fan, you may not even know that Deft truly struggled in lane, even when his team was winning titles in Korea. When Samsung Blue in 2014 was good, and they would go up against Samsung White.
Oh, that was a big upgrade. That might actually save me.
By Imp and Lane.
Labora
And,
is
like,
disgusting.
Not die one time, like die 4 times, and then win the game because he was so good at team fighting. Samsung Blue was a late game macro team that team fought well and came from behind. And he later improved a lot in terms of his laning, but that was only after he went to China and went to EDG. And so if you didn't see the beginning of his career, you wouldn't know this. So he brought up his laning a lot, but he was down. I mean, he was negative CS, negative XP at 15 minutes in lane, or at 10 minutes rather, in lane this summer. And that's surprising because especially
I'm gonna start making my way up and try. I was gonna go down and get that healing, but I think I'm gonna make my way up to the healing above me, and then try to get to this attractor thingy.
As far as Deft's narrative goes, this really was kind of a return to Deft. He did get more damage by percentage and more gold in this World Championship than he did during the summer season. But I think it speaks to a broader meta shift that was very, very good for DRX, in that he wasn't the highest economy ADC, he wasn't the highest damage ADC, and it was a meta that rewarded players that were high gold and high damage, like Prince and Aiming on KT and Live Sandbox. Now, how did they get through the qualifier when the qualifier was on the patch that they were bad at? Still an absolute fucking mystery. I think maybe the pressure caused the other teams to choke, but they were a huge underdog.
Both of the series they won against teams that were both better, KT and Live Sandbox, were both 3-2s as well, by the way, guys. Even in that, it was like, how are they squeaking through this? And then I'll give you one more stat in line with what you're talking about, right? In the LCK,
it was actually the best underdog story ever in League of Legends. 100%, not even close.
Wait a minute, that's just because it was probably like Genji. No. There were literally 4 players from Live Sandbox got on one of the 3 teams, and 2 players from KT Rolster. Not a single one. So all of you going, I always said Zerk was brilliant. No one else thought so. Nobody else. Maybe in China he was popping off every now and then, but like. And then the other thing is, you want to go player by player, mate, right? Kingen. If I told anyone before the Worlds, Kingen wins Worlds, and it might be a top fucking meta, nobody believes you. Everyone says, look, sell, no way. And then how about the Pioshik one? Probably one of the most streaky junglers ever.
Trying to 100% Vampire Survivor. I don't know if I'm gonna 100% it, but.
And on top of that, he even did that thing that, in a way, I sort of love.
I'm getting kind of tired of it.
Like, you just can't play all the meta.
I kind of was trying to 100% it, but now I don't know if I will.
Like, I don't believe
it just depends on how hard the last few challenges are. If they're like super difficult and gonna take me forever, I probably won't. I'm just trying to get to the 30 minutes one right now.
Forcing him onto like popping. He's like, this is actually the one thing I'm good at.
Holy 6 messages.
Like, why are you doing? Why are you doing this to him, guys? Like, it's like that. So the idea these guys win, it's like, it's just impossible to believe in it.
But I think it's absolutely outrageous, because if you were to go back in time, Wolf and I were laughing about this at the end of the finals. We were saying, like, this is actually just, we were just like, I can't believe this actually happened. This is so surreal. Wolf was saying to me, he's like, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow morning and be like, oh yeah, T1 won Worlds. It's like, no, it didn't happen. But we were joking, because, like, imagine we can go back in time and
that was a good weapon upgrade that I just got.
And say, oh yeah, DRX is making it to Worlds, and then also DRX wins Worlds, and also Zeka is going to be basically the MVP of the entire tournament, and Kingen is going to be MVP of finals, and he's going to play against Zeus, and he's going to be MVP of finals. It's just outrageous that you would ever believe.
Pretty nuts.
And that's why everyone was saying, like, I would like DRX to win. It's such an incredible story. But you cannot be intellectually honest with yourself and say anything besides like 3-0, basically.
By the way, you know what the end
and
of
then
that
they won.
Piece, now it looks even better that I sort of left it open-ended, like, what are you going to show me now, Dex? Deft, what's next? Now it sounds like I was opening the door, like, oh, anything's... I just thought he was going out in that match in the semi-finals, obviously. Like, that's why I made it come out right before the semis. He was like, you better get this shit out. He's losing the next match. no one thought he was winning. That just now aged beautifully, because that's just called fucking wordsmanship, boys.
I mean, I don't even know really any kind of parallel. This is just such an insanely
Here's
unlikely
the statement
story.
I would make, mate, right? Because this is what people aren't going to get, right? I'm not joking, Monty. I don't care that they just won Worlds. There's no universe if I'm DRX, I would keep this 5-man lineup. Like, anyone who's thinking, oh, and then the momentum of this, you know, they're going to win the next split, like, they're not. I'll tell you right now, here's the statement, right? They're not going to win the next LCK split. They're going to go home. In fact, I'll predict they're going to come like 4th in the next LCK playoffs. That's it. There you go. And a bunch of them are going to come back down to earth. Like maybe Zekra ends up being better. Maybe he can continue on as a good player. Maybe Deft's still legit if he plays there. Beryl was always half decent and had good like draft pick. But Pioshik's never going to be the best jungler in LCK. And there's no way King and some monster player. I'm telling you right now, there's no way they're the best team in Korea.
I mean, they're not even going to be a team next year. Literally, all of their.
It's actually a really good
contracts
Arcana
are
to
ending
get
on
right when you're
November
about to run out of
24th.
upgrades.
Because
then you can pick the constant gold and you still get healing and you get bonus
Mad
money.
Lions situation.
And you're
If
still
you
getting
had
healing out
DRX,
of it.
You sell all these players for above their value. By the way, even Deft. Now you're not going to get another Worlds out
They
of
got
him.
2
You may
weeks.
as well sell him for as much as possible now.
They
Sell them
have
all.
2 weeks. They have 2 weeks to sell. So
Yes.
if I'm the players, I mean, I don't agree to any unless there's a contract extension coming with part of the sale, right? Unless you can negotiate between the teams a buyout price, and then the players and their agents negotiate with the new team a contract extension simultaneously. I don't think anybody sells. I think they're just going to all hit free agency. But that's the wild thing, guys. You can
That even
tell
implies they didn't
DRX
believe in the
did not
team.
believe in
Yeah,
this.
exactly.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So does that? You can tell DRX didn't fucking believe
Yes.
in this team because all 5 of their starters were not extended prior to this tournament. Nobody, like, maybe they rejected it, but you would objectively have to be kind of dumb if they were offering you a bunch of money not to take the offer because your value isn't going to be there. Now, congrats in believing in yourselves that now potentially you have huge value. I'm sure Zeka and Beryl.
I'm pretty sure I've unlocked all of the characters. I would assume it wouldn't give me random until I had all of the characters, but I don't know.
Big bucks in order to.
I think I have, but I could be wrong.
Over to LPL.
I haven't looked up how many there are.
I think it's just ridiculous that this roster is going to.
But I think I probably have all of them.
I am kind of sad in a way because.
Bro, I don't even know what character I am. Should I buy permanent upgrades since I'm playing on random?
In a way,
Will it give it to a random character? Because I don't know what character I am. Since it shows me as just a question mark. I don't remember who it is that starts with the
Well, I'll
ebony
give you the
bird
analogy.
thing.
You know when I always say, Monty, you'll love this. You know when I always say that Cloud9 fluked the major in CSGO because like they weren't supposed to, by the way, even be in the finals of the Boston Major, but to beat FaZe, that was actually the one team that was their complete kryptonite that they could never even win a map off. Right? A lot of people don't know this detail. I'm going to make a video on it one day, Monty. They think it's like, right, they always, people always truncate history in their brain. They take like the big points and they just draw a straight line between them. So a lot of people naively think this, Monty. They think what happened is Cloud9 won the major, and then Stewie 2K just went straight to MIBR SK, and then Skadoodle retired, and then eventually Tarek came as no, you're putting like tournament after tournament. They kept the same exact lineup that won the major for like 3 or 4 lands after that, Monty. Spoiler, they did fuck all.
There are 4
Even
different
better,
randoms,
they
I think. They
spam
grow different
every single
stats per
time they
level.
win. So like the great thing
Ew.
is, I'm not even speculating. Like,
Huh.
oh, wow, they sort of fluked that. It's like
I have no
literally
idea
give the
then.
graph, like wins, losses, like what the tournament's like. That's like the one crazy outlier.
This game is like
And the rest is
unlock
just
after
like,
secret unlock after random unlock after thing you didn't know existed. Like, that's what's kind of cool about this game, honestly, is if you don't look stuff up, there's actually a crazy amount to unlock. Like, I was surprised.
If you look at what they were like before
I thought there was going to be a lot
Worlds is the
less
outlier,
characters
absolutely.
and
By
things
the
to
way, one
unlock,
thing I'll give
but there's
them back
actually a
props for
ton. It's a
is somehow
surprisingly
they did
deep
manage to hold
game.
up under all the pressure. That's also very rare that the underdog can keep it going. But
For
again,
$5,
do I
I'm
think that will
sorry,
happen
but
every
like,
time?
I don't think
Like,
I've ever gotten
and
more
also spoiler,
enjoyment out of
they'll win for the
$5
favourite,
before.
Yeah. And by the way, if you're not the real favourite, that's why being an underdog is only good temporarily. If you're not the real favourite, but you get told, like, none of you are. Like, you're the best team now. Dude,
I
they
love
crumble
games
like
like
that.
this, though,
That's
honestly.
really
I'm a
hard.
big
'Cause you can't
Diablo
possibly
fan,
live up
big
to it. You're
ARPG
not
fan.
JMG, you haven't got all
I
the
really
star
like
players.
games like this. I've always been a
I do
huge
wanna
Diablo
give
fan since
DRX
Diablo 2.
I think they would be better.
I
next year
love
than they are
Diablo
this
3.
year, if
I
only
don't know how
because
many. I probably have
I
close to
watched their
1,000 hours
macro
in Diablo
dramatically
3, maybe
improve
more.
over the course of Worlds.
It might be my
talked
most played
about them a
video
lot
game,
as
except for
being
maybe
kind of
World
like
of
the
Warcraft
most
and League of Legends
technically
and Heroes of the
old-school
Storm.
Korean style team where they
Those
play
might be the only
very
games that would rival it for how
slow,
many hours I've played.
suffocating, objective-focused game and make very few.
And if you
macro
count all
mistakes in the
Pokemon
late
games
game,
together,
which is still true, by the way, they did extremely well. And I said
but you don't,
in our pregame
obviously.
analysis that one angle.
Where
they
is
might have
this
to win
stupid
is to
attractor
kind of
orb? I
accelerate
can't
the
find
pace of
it.
the game and try and repeatedly force
I guess I
fights
picked
around
it
the
up. I
dragon.
don't
And
know.
indeed,
I
that's
can't
where
tell.
they were able to get multiple souls throughout this last finals. I think it was a key part.
It's
of
not
the way
4
they won
different
the
ones. It
game.
just cycles
But
between the
their
4.
macro
Oh,
did at a
I thought it
fundamental
was
level
picking
look
a
lot
random
different than it
character.
did in many games
I
throughout
thought
the
random
LCK
meant
regular
you get a
season.
random
I
character.
don't know
But I guess that's kind of what Quick Start
why
does.
that
So
is.
I guess it makes
I
sense.
think Barrel's shot calling is very good, and
So I probably
perhaps the
shouldn't
players
waste
were not
my.
investing their
It doesn't really
complete
matter though if
confidence
I
in
waste my
him.
money on my
There's
permanent
obviously always
upgrades. I mean, like
jokes
I've got
about
another
Barrel being
10K
unmotivated
already,
to
so
play, but perhaps
and
at
it's not
Worlds
like
he
it's
stepped
that
up
big
his
of a
practice and
permanent
therefore
upgrade. It's like
improved his kind of
decimal
shot
points of
calling and
stats.
in-game abilities. If he was trying to peak really hard for this tournament, I think
There's a chest back here.
without him, this championship just doesn't happen. Which is very, very interesting. And it's not even because he is a super good individual player. He's not. He is a versatile player who understands macro and who can pull out the right kind of slightly off meta picks that
Just
are
a very
very
idiosyncratic
effective.
player, isn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing: like that Bard pick was good. It's not meta. It's not a meta pick, but it was funny because Papa was like shouting for it while we were watching the draft. He's like, pick Bard, and then he blocked in Bard. He was like, holy shit, I didn't think he'd actually do it. But yeah, it would turn out to be a really excellent pick into their composition. And I think it's that level of game knowledge that's being brought over and Barrel's confidence in using some of these picks that is very effective for him as an individual player.
That's also, by the way, I'll throw one last factor in as well. I hadn't thought of that as well. Technically, in light of what you're saying, they also must have known they'll probably never play with this lineup again. So actually, in that sense, it had a last dance quality to it, where it's like, if you don't know, this is also a famous quality from Counter-Strike. Once you know the team's dead, it resolves all like problems in the team because there's no point arguing with this guy. I'm not going to play with him in 2 months. So what you tend to do is just go, fuck it. Let's just do what we can in the last tournament. And sometimes you get like a miracle run. That does sometimes happen.
Yeah, and I know when we talked about this earlier, you said that you thought there was still a lot of pressure on them, but they already exceeded everyone's
I didn't know that detail. That's the problem, yeah.
They already exceeded all expectations coming into this event, and they were constantly expected to lose. And I think
I gotta survive for like
some of the pressure, and
4 more
they
minutes,
knew
man.
The team was basically over at the end.
And then I gotta beat whatever the
And
final
thing
boss
is,
is.
The funny thing is,
Which I think
the
I can.
deeper you
I'm pretty
go,
strong.
The more over you know it is, because there's no way this team can afford these players. Like as soon as you make,
I don't think
the
this is
finals
like a
with
go
DRX,
infinite
and with
run,
Zeka's
but I
performance
think
at
it's strong
Worlds,
enough to beat a
Zeka's almost
boss.
certainly gone, right?
Especially since I just got another revive. Now I got the experience thing, which the
Def is
experience thing doesn't really
probably
matter at
almost
this point in the
certainly
game.
And then
It's
you-
just some
you win
healing,
the semifinals,
basically.
It's like, well, we're all definitely gone at this point, or most of us, by probably like 3 to 4 of us are probably gone. And then you win the finals. It's like, who the fuck on DRX is going to?
I don't know why I took the experience over an extra revive. That was stupid.
Throw money at these players. Some of the other teams that might be trying to make a bigger investment for next year in the LCK are going to throw money at these players. It's just, just that the last opportunity to do something, and I think it really like
Good
paid out.
grief. It's getting to the point where I can't
Extraordinary moment,
see
honestly. I think
anything
it's
except
one
damage
of my
numbers.
favorite moments ever in esports. I've been watching esports for 20 years, and I think this is one of my favorite all-time moments because it was truly so incredible. And I just don't think we're going to see an underdog story like this again.
No, I don't
League.
think so.
It would be very unlikely.
Maybe not
No,
in
I
any
mean, if you
game.
just even look, the amount of times that once you get to like the semis especially, it's like really predictably boring who will win. And like I said, look, it didn't happen, but the other world was like, there's a world where T1, I mean, maybe if they'd won game 2, this would have happened. There's a world where T1 just crush you. It's over and everyone's going, shame Gen G. In fact, that would be the main thing we'd all be complaining about right now. They fucking ruined the finals, Monty, stupid DRX. Like,
I do kind of want to see what all of the weapon upgrades do. That is one thing I'd like to see before I finish playing this game.
That's the problem. You can't win by the way if you T1. That's how you fucked if you do, you fucked if you don't. So.
And by the way, we haven't talked about this yet.
Holy
but,
level ups.
Last week at a press conference, they announced that there wouldn't be double elimination for Worlds because all of the biggest sporting events in the world have single elimination, which is just a appeal to antiquity, logical fallacy. It's like just because that has been done doesn't mean that the same rules apply to esports.
Really sucks that they don't do double
play
elim.
more matches, kind of ridiculous. Also, you might see real sports move to double elimination in the future. Who the fuck can know? But regardless, another argument that I've seen floating around is like the DRX
2 more
story
minutes.
proves that single elimination is good.
2 more minutes.
It's like, no, it doesn't, guys. Because if DRX faced a murderer's row of teams in order to win, including the top
new
2
weapon
teams
is
in
pretty
their own
OP, the
region,
Greatest
in
Jubilee.
order to win this final.
Yeah, I don't
Which
know.
means that
I don't know when that
they
came out. I
probably
just
would
started
have
playing
won
this
in
game
double
like a week or
elimination
two
as
ago.
well. Like, maybe not, but you can't say if an underdog team.
Bro, I don't
wins
know.
in
I gotta
single
survive
elimination,
another minute and a
that it
half. This
doesn't
is
work that way.
looking
Now, here's the argument you
scary.
make. If T1 had smashed DRX in the finals 3-0, then you might say, well, you know, DRX probably wouldn't have made the final in double elimination. And that would have been true, right? If you want the underdog story.
This is
But the
looking
point of
kind of
double elimination
spooky.
is to avoid those scenarios where a team gets a very preferential matchup or has a very good day and then ends up with that victory.
One more
and then you
minute.
end up with a final that is complete garbage. We ended up with a great final, which
One more
can happen in
minute.
single elimination. The point of double elimination is just to help ensure that you have a
One
better
more
match in the final.
By the way, here's all you reply when someone gives a really stupid point.
I've got a lot of revives. That's
When that
one thing
John
I have
Williams
going
guy
for me.
goes, yeah, but all the biggest
But I
spots in the
literally
world
can't
have
tell what's
single.
going on.
You
If the
just
boss
go,
spawns,
yeah,
I'm
but
not
they
gonna
don't
see
have
it,
yordles.
dude. There's no way I can see it.
Listen, we have a saying in English.
All
ask
I
a
see
stupid
is
question,
damage
get a stupid
numbers. It's
answer. Like,
ridiculous.
what's the relevance, John Needham? If you don't know, fans, what they're doing right there, they've done 2 things.
Like, I feel like
simultaneously
this would
that's
give people,
classic
this would give someone a
Riot behaviour.
seizure.
One, you notice they
if
managed
they
to
had
pretend
epilepsy.
The rest of esports doesn't exist.
I hope I'm not giving anyone a seizure.
And also their own esport, Valorant, which has double
Holy,
elimination in their
slowed
massive
down.
championship.
Why did
They
it slow
managed to
down so much
pretend
right
it
there?
doesn't exist.
Did anyone else see
Their
that?
only guide they could look at, guy, they
That
could
was
look at
whack.
all the years of esports, other esports that are
Holy
successful, formats
shite.
that people
15
can crack. You can't look at that.
seconds.
They
And then the
just can
boss
only look at
spawns, I
the
think.
one
And then I have to kill the
picture.
boss. How hard is the boss going to
And
be
then
if this
think
is
of
what the
he's
map
saying.
looks like?
He didn't even give the reason why. He didn't go, well, the thing is...
Trying to get over here to
it would be a
this
great
thing to
reference
pick up
point if
these
he said, most
gems.
major sports use single elimination, which I like for insert
Oh,
principle A.
okay.
By the way, it could be something like that. I like it to have a lot of tension around every playoff match with no extra life.
Oh,
I want teams
boss
to
time?
not have a chance to, like, adapt. I want
Taking
that
us to
see in
another
the moment, like,
place?
intuitive player who adapts like, in the moment.
I don't know what's going on.
These would be great reasons, by the way. I wouldn't necessarily pick them and agree with them, but I could have respect someone.
It
who
runs
argued
better
that
without the
way.
damage
And if
numbers.
you said,
Yeah,
"Oh,
that's
that'd
what I
be
kind of
great," but instead
assumed.
he just sort of went. Well, Riot Games actually operates on the.
I don't know where I'm
hardcore
supposed to be going or what I'm
philosophy.
supposed to be doing right
So
now.
Since sports has it,
Oh.
then we're gonna do it.
Um,
Therefore, by transitive property, we're going to be like sport. That's what he's
What
implying.
the
If you don't get, guys. He's
frick is
implying that,
happening?
like, the NFL is mega successful because
Yep.
of single elimination.
I figured
That's
I
what
needed to
he's
dodge
doing.
that.
And by the way, guys, you can just detect this
Oh.
is bullshit. And the NFL.
I can't
likes
see
to do
this stuff, dude!
because the NFL realizes
It's so
that the
hard to
more
see this
NFL games
crap.
They are, the more money they make. Guys, they
Oh.
just added.
Am I in it or not? Nope, okay.
16 to 17 for this very reason. They had a whole negotiation with the NFL Players Association about adding an extra game.
Bro.
Players would get paid more money then, and it was a tense negotiation
Oh,
because the players.
I guess I
know
could just
an
walk
extra
through
game
that?
means they could
Okay.
get hurt and end their careers. You are a psycho if you think that the NFL. If there
It's
were
so
no
impossible to tell
penalties,
what's
that they could
happening.
somehow convince
But I'm like
the
not
Players
taking any
Association
damage
to
from a
move
lot of this
playoffs to
stuff,
double
so it's
elim.
okay.
The NFL would do that 1,000% because the amount of extra money the NFL would make on those media rights deals would be astronomical. It would be they want as many playoff games as possible, right? And
That's
you
why
would
they
think
Uh-oh.
signed
that
this
Riot
thing,
would
by
want
the
the
way.
same thing.
That's why I know where we're fucking up here. We're still trying to address Riot, right? You know what? This is where, you know, in comics sometimes, Monty, like even though Lex Luthor wants to kill Superman, I don't know if you know this, it's a famous trope that if someone else seems to have killed Superman, Lex Luthor goes mental and tries to kill them because he's like, I wanted to kill him. So that every now and then he will actually work together with Superman, right? If he has to. So the premise goes like this. Here's what I actually need to do. I need to just say, you know what? I'm going to put that whole,
Did I win?
evil country thing to one side. And I've got to go
I don't know.
direct to the top of Tencent. And when I get there, I'm
Oh,
just gonna
there's
have
the
a
book.
sit down and go, look, I am East.
Yay! Permanently allows to level up weapons beyond their
You know
limit.
what?
Can be enabled in
I've got
stage
one
selection.
thing to
Cool.
explain to you that I think maybe has been lost in the
So we got
communication
that.
in the Riot Global office.
I think I'm gonna turn the
And
damage
Tencent,
numbers
by the way, a
off.
company I respect very much, you know, the way you enrich the Chinese economy. I'd just sell that line, obviously. Right? And then what I'd say to them is this. Obviously, to help the Chinese economy and help China grow as much as possible, I'd just like to point out that if you had double elimination, you'd have like X amount more games minimum at your tournaments, which if you were to take basic averages for the viewership, would mean actually, you know, the event goes up 10 million viewed hours for the same amount of time spent. And then they'd be like, oh, thank you very much for this. I just have to make a call to Riot Global. Hello? Like, give me a break. Like, dude, I want to know if those guys know that, because those are the guys who are actually getting wrecked on this deal. Like, if they want raw numbers, like, by the way, how could any game stand against League of Legends if it had a double limb format, all those matches, all the story? It would be unbeatable as a game.
Cool.
Look, man, I'm willing to.
Oh, I didn't mean to
You're-
click
you're
revive.
right, we'll make a deal.
Oh, I got another
sacrifice a double
character?
limb
Oh,
at the World
jeez.
Championship, but you have to do two things. You have to make MSI.
Okay, what
not
unlocks are there
fucking
left?
And have a real format.
Find the
MSI
Forbidden
where we
Scrolls
get
of Morbane.
multiple good
I don't know
teams
where
from the
that
best
is.
Regions in order to duke it out. There's number one. Number two is you have to add another international tournament so that we actually have more international competitions, so that all the best
Bone
of fives we get
Zone.
are not just fucking
Okay.
single elim.
What
at
about
Worlds.
Gracious
And number
Mirror?
three, you have to fix Worlds groups. Please, for the love of God, like run TI style groups or something like that.
Idiomonia
so we have
machine? I
more
don't know what the
groups
hell that
games
means.
At the very least,
And then I have to
or
reach
turn
level
groups to
50
the
with
best
like
of
all the
threes, or
characters
do
and level 80 with
something,
all the
because we can't
characters.
continue to
Okay.
have this. There
I don't know
are
if I'll do all
ways
of
that we
these,
can make
but I
single
am
elim
gonna
not
get
suck at Worlds,
these.
but it requires a lot more other
Okay, what about the
things in order
seventh
to make
trumpet?
that, like an acceptable compromise. We can't just continue with one team per region at MSI, infinity garbage group.
They're both in
games
the
into a
whatever
very
machine.
short playoff
Okay.
bracket, and we can't have infinity garbage group
Okie
games and play-ins.
dokie.
These small groups which create weird
Let's turn
seedings, and then
the
have that seed into a bracket. If we had like two
damage
groups
numbers
of 8 at
off.
World, right, and then we had them seeded properly, then we could create a properly seeded single elimination bracket. But off of 6 games,
Okay,
of
so I need to do
tiebreakers,
the
you can't
bone,
get good
whatever.
seeding. You can't get good seeding. Like what you
Guess I
want,
got this
guys,
guy.
is
Gets
you
more
want a single
projectiles
elim
every 20
bracket
levels.
where
Starts with
the
temporary
first
amount
team
bonus.
in
Okay.
one in Group A faces the fourth.
Oh,
team
okay. So it
in
does
Group
rotate the
B,
weapon. I
right?
see that
And that's
now.
on the top side of the bracket. The bottom side of the bracket is the first team in Group B and the fourth team from Group A.
So I need to do the
and 2
bone
and 3
zone.
on-
Is
on
this the
sides. You actually have a
Edgemonia?
bracket where you're
Edge?
likely to get a good finals, for example.
I don't know what that is.
So do
What's the
this.
Edgemonia
And we'll
thing?
be
So you'll never convince idiots. They'll always go, but if you
I
were
don't
the
see
better
it.
team, you would have.
Oh, God,
you can never
Kelly.
defeat that thinking. Unfortunately, you'll never defeat it. You'll never defeat it.
Upon entering
These are the same
Where's the
people that think they're just going
Edgemonia
to randomly
machine?
be a millionaire one day. They're like,
special
"Well, I'm
stage
just
is
down on my luck
unlocked
right now,
after
but that one
obtaining.
day
Okay,
when I
after
get really
obtain
lucky."
all standard
Yeah,
relics.
Same
Okay.
mentality. All right.
So I need
do
to
you
get
wanna
the
Peter
Bone
done
Rush
and
one or
we'll
whatever.
Talk about the series a little bit.
Yes, but here's the thing. Speaking of getting it done,
You
if
don't have
want
any
to
of the
get
ghosts?
extra
I don't know. Let me look.
crypto to bet with on esports bet, and you've never done a
I have
deposit
this
before,
ghost.
You can get their standard deposit of 20%, 50%.
I don't know. I don't know how to get them.
USDT. 50, not 20. 50, so it's I've 2.5 times it there. Right, 50% up.
All right, Bone Zone it is. What does Limit Break
and by the
do?
way, you would have made
Oh,
out
it
a
lets me
bandit
break
if
my
you'd have done
like
this on the
my
files
weapons
of
go
the
beyond
RX
8.
said, is they also have the 100 USDT bet for
I guess I'll
users
grab
where
that.
Up to 100 USDT on your first time, you can make a bet.
Let's
You
take the
don't win.
revivals. Why not?
So in this case, if you'd have bet on DRX, you would have.
I don't know what this
You go
guy's
to
starting
message the
weapon
mod
is.
mail on the discord.gg/esportsbet, and you say
There are
last
3
variation
secret
set,
ghost
they'll give you
characters.
up to 100
Great.
USDT back. So what we always say on that one is
Wonderful.
I suggest that you do that, put it on an underdog.
I don't know if
So
I'll
in this
be
case,
getting
if you'd have
those.
put on
I'm getting
DRX,
kind
you
of tired of
would
this.
have
Is
got
this guy's ability? Is it
3
dropping
point something,
furniture on
if you remember,
people?
like 3.6 or
They are a
something
pain to
ridiculous.
get. I
So you
probably
wouldn't have
won't
needed
get
the
them
bet for
then.
this. And if T wanted one anyway, as expected, he would have got the 100 USDT back. So
I'll just be
this is an
honest. I
interesting
probably
way
won't
to
get
use
them
that.
then.
Right, play the music and bring on Peter Dunn. Right, we're back with our guest, Peter Dunn, formerly of Evil Geniuses. A guest who I would actually describe as being whitelisted on this show because we very much enjoy hearing his thoughts about everything League of Legends. And of course now, no one knows where's he going after his adventure at Evil Geniuses. Maybe he'll hint at it, maybe he won't. Who knows?
I mean, all I'll say is, NDAs, non-disparagement clauses aside. Lucky,
He's locked up. He's locked up. He can't tell you about the past or the future. He's totally fucking useless.
Yeah, completely useless. I feel very lucky to have been on an all-black EG, where public appearances were determined through kind of agency screening. You can never trust players or coaches to make their own decisions about values or opportunities, available.
By the way,
but
before we
Peter, if you could, how would the PR people make money? If people were capable of making their own intelligent public decisions, those PR people would just be out of a job. And wouldn't that be a shame, Peter? Wouldn't that be a shame?
There is a code to get the
Hey,
first, or you have a 1 in 200 chance
That's
of getting
definitely nothing
him
to
from
do
a
with my
luck clover.
non-disparagement
No
clause.
thanks.
I just want to say,
don't worry about it.
I just feel
I'm
incredibly
good.
In a theoretical universe, there are
I don't
many
need that
things
character
could
that
have
bad
happened,
then.
Peter. You know, we're not saying they did. They just could have.
I mean, funny enough, on topic, actually.
Like I said, I'm probably going to get the relics, and then I'm at least going to take a pause on this game and play something else for a little while.
Maybe he's connected this conversation. We'll see in the forthcoming
I
weeks.
kind of want to get back. I kind of want to try out Kaizo Ironmon, and I kind of want to get back into my Nuzlocks.
Right, actually, before we get into like the EG stuff and LEC, what I want to ask Peter is, I know you've been a long-time viewer of the LPL, and obviously,
So I may do that
Death
next.
is one of the top stars of it.
I don't
What
think
were
there's
your
any other
thoughts on
like
DRX winning
games that I
Worlds?
want to play that bad.
I mean,
Ironmon
it's
seems fun.
unbelievable, right? Actually,
Seems
I'll be
really,
honest,
really
my
hard,
thoughts
but
on
really
DRX
fun.
Going to Worlds is I'm really sad I couldn't see Prince at Worlds because they beat them 3-2 in the gauntlet, and I was really looking forward to seeing Prince against international competition. But obviously, yeah, like you guys were saying earlier on in the show, it's completely impossible, right? It is actually completely impossible that this could happen. And I feel that, yeah, I mean, I
Another
think it's an amazing
axe.
story, and you know, it's like one of those situations. There seems to be they're coming to get me. No, there seems to be there seems to be. What was I going to say? No, it seems to be that that you know, it's one of those things where if you're playing Football Manager and you ran this save once, you know, you could never get the save to come again if you were setting up all of the games. So I mean, it's completely insane that something like this happens. You know, I went back to go and watch all the Zeka VODs I possibly could, just to make sure that I hadn't just overlooked this guy and he hadn't really been that insane all along. And he just, you know, massively overperformed. Kingen in the final, you know, he still doesn't know what a side lane is, but he team fought like.
Are you
like,
going for the question
incredibly
mark?
well,
Yes, I
and
am.
outplayed Zeus in the 1v1.
At least I'm trying to.
You know, incredibly impressive. And yeah, I mean, Pure Sick. It was very funny actually in the fourth game after the Baron was stolen. They never flipped a single Baron for the rest of the game. They just like every single thing after that was just a bait.
Just go down and wait. He goes back and forth. Oh, so just get like in line with him. Okay.
I mean, I just love the creativity in the second rounds of the draft, right? Because the last two games rather, because this is a team that really like reached back into the bag of tricks. Because if we remember how DRX started in play-ins, it was DRX using Jungle Maokai that really pushed the pick to the top of priority before people realized, oh yeah, we can basically just get Silas and get a more powerful Maokai ult, especially if we're going to hit level 16 on the Silas. And so that really eliminated that. But because of the way the drafts went, and because that the Azir and the Akali had already been selected, it made an opportunity in order for them to counterpick with the Maokai without the Silas being a factor within this game. And then in the final game of the series, we talked about this a bit earlier, but taking the Bard against Varus Victor makes it extremely difficult for that backline to do anything without getting hit by a Bard ult. Also gives you just crazy mobility around objectives. Also loved the Hecarim pick, in like picking it into this composition, because you can really disrupt the Gwen and the Viego with the Hecarim. So all in all, like a lot of picks that we thought might be higher priority. We came into Worlds thinking Hecarim's going to be picked a lot. We left group stage thinking, oh, the Maokai is really strong. And as teams found answers to this, they sort of fell off in terms of priority. Hecarim was never really there. But in particular situations, DRX was not afraid to kind of go off the script and really pull out some extremely impactful picks that helped them ultimately seal the world championship. So I think props to them. And Song, you know, who was a former Najin mid laner and then ended up
his
being
weapon
coach
is strong.
for a number
Yeah,
of
I was gonna
years,
say it looks
particularly across
strong. It looks
LCS
silly,
teams
but
like
it does
TSM
seem
and Team Liquid
strong
before going back to Korea.
for
Because
sure.
these drafts were, I think, fantastic from them.
For sure. I mean, obviously they were helped a little bit by the meta. Wait, wasn't Song the coach on Immortals, on that Immortals team that were like
Yes.
17? Yeah. I remember him from that. Yeah, no, I agree that their prep for this tournament was really good. But also, again, as you guys were discussing earlier, the fact that I'm pretty
Am I
sure
not
that
damaging
90%
this
of
guy?
teams would have mentally crumbled in that second game.
Why does it look like I'm not damaging it?
Where the inhibitor was, where Def was about to kill the Nexus. You know, they'd had a long fight back from a completely
In quarters, yeah.
Oh, in quarters, yeah. Sorry, of course.
Yep.
And you know, having that kind of mental resilience is obviously completely insane, right? So it was a very, very impressive performance right from players. You know, it does raise an interesting question though in players, which is, you know, should you have World Championship winning teams going through your playing stage, playing against all these
Ow.
emerging region teams. But
I mean, here's a wild one for you, Peter. If you now think about what the play-ins were like, as
I'm
you say,
confused.
Will,
I don't
unless
understand.
it's
It looks like I'm not
you
damaging
had
it.
the MSI
He takes a
champions,
lot to
now we
kill
didn't
and
know it, but the
grows
world
when he
champions
runs
were
into
in
enemies.
the
Oh,
same group.
jeez. Okay.
Same group even.
yeah,
Alive. That's wild.
and also you could have argued that RNG maybe would have performed a bit better going with the a lot of
The
the
group.
had COVID issues, right?
Oh yes, of course, a lot of them did. Yes.
Like you look at RNG, they literally look like they're not fit to play, right? And how well would RNG have done if they'd had enough time to swim properly, prep properly? Were they even 100% fully fit, right, going into their quarterfinals?
Hey, if you're watching the stream and you haven't already,
yeah,
please like the stream.
Just an interesting aside.
Subscribe to the channel if you want to know when I go
it's
live.
probably one of the
You don't have
strongest
to,
players
but
that we've ever seen.
I would appreciate it.
Glad we were in the other group.
Was there anything that stuck out
Shameless
to you about
plugs
this,
out of
this
the way.
DRX team at all? Because like going back, I know you watched so many games, and I was saying like their macro I think really improved over the course of Worlds, and they were one of the most reliable teams at closing out games when they went ahead. They didn't make a lot.
Well, he
of
definitely takes a
significant
lot to kill.
macro mistakes, and that was I think a very, very powerful.
Oh, geez,
part
it's getting
of-
so
of their
big. Look at it.
So I think the big issue that this team has is
I don't
that
know if
they're
I'm
very
strong enough at
comfortable in
this
2-lane
point.
setups, but not very comfortable. in
I'm not
3-lane
doing too hot.
and they found a way at this Worlds to kind of semi-funnel Zeka with
Yeah.
Kingen dropping sideways. But they weren't actually. If I had to say there's weakness for this team, the weakness for this team is that they're very good at transferring pressure from Kingen's side into Zeka's side, but they weren't very good at transferring it back, right? And I think there wasn't enough time at this Worlds maybe for people to fully realize what they were doing, or maybe people were overconfident, or who knows what to say. But I think that if this team was to continue playing for a couple more months, people would find ways to trap Kingen on weak side, or they would find ways to contain Zeka, because what was going on a lot is you'd have situations where Zeka would play side, he'd push to river or just past river, he'd go to mid, and then obviously they transfer into Zeka's side, and then Zeka would just stay there or just stay in front. Or if he would go back to mid, King wouldn't go back to his side. They just stay as 5 in mid and just contest mid aggressively. And this was really, really good. Obviously, in the team fight meta, obviously we talked.
Sorry,
about,
didn't mean to mute
there's been a
myself.
lot of patch changes coming into Worlds this year, and this kind
I
of
accidentally
play,
bumped it, I guess.
the risks associated with playing like this.
Okay, this is not
were
going too
much lower
hot.
at this Worlds than at previous Worlds. But it was just interesting to see, King, and there was a game we played in the finals where he.
This is just not. This ain't it, Chief.
And
I'm not
he was
strong
ahead,
enough.
and Zeus was still,
I don't have enough damage to kill anything, so
so I think that was the main
this
issue.
just
that they
isn't gonna
had.
do it.
But obviously their team fighting was very crisp. They had no fear. And for all my criticism of King and side lane play, he fought like a god in that final. So that was very, very impressive. For sure.
Well, it's also that they were so focused throughout the series on trying to stack the dragons and achieve soul for many of these games.
It'd be nice to get like
it helped if
armor
they were
right
able
now.
to take some losses onto Kingen in order to, sacrifice that in order to get position on dragon.
Yeah, for sure. And also like sometimes. How would I say this? So sometimes teams have a 5-0 setup on Dragon, or sometimes
Okay, dude.
4-1 setup.
I get it.
But the
You're
thing
trying to be
that was very
helpful,
impressive about DRX is
but
that they
I
were
don't need
able
you to tell me every
switch
little
freely
single thing
between
about the
3-2
video
and
game.
4-1
That kind
setup.
of ruins
So
the
what
point
that
of me
means is
playing it,
sometimes
right?
you put one person on
Like
the
if I
flank
wanted to
on a
know
Dragon
every
setup,
single
and
thing in the
then,
video game, I'd just go watch
but
somebody
it's
else
very
play it
easy if you
instead
know
of
that
playing
there's
it
4
myself,
people around
right?
mid and one person on the flank. You just collapse on the
So,
guy on the flank.
I appreciate
What
the
they were
help that
doing is
you
they would
provided,
send normally pure sick to like reinforce.
but it's all good.
Zeka on
I'm
the
playing the
flank, so
game
that
because
they
I
had
want to
2
play the
people on
game,
flank.
not because I want to know
And then
everything
that
about it.
would mean that would force the enemy
without
team
playing
into
it.
a position where they weren't necessarily comfortable. Because
This game has
there would
been
be a
fun
much
for me
more
because I
and
didn't look
power
anything
on
up
both
until
sides.
I
And I
basically
think
got
against
super
them,
far in
they
it,
did
so
really well. They were really
that
good
made it a lot more
putting
fun
one
for me,
person, sometimes
learning
pure sick,
stuff on my
sometimes
own.
Kingen, being kind of that flex person in Dragon setups, which was I think another thing that they did really well. They helped with their team fights.
By the way, before we move on and talk about the other stuff, one thing
Okay, I
I
got a
also want to
chest
ask
drop
about
up there. I
was,
need to go get
what are your
that.
thoughts on Gen G failing to win Worlds when they were such
This
a,
guy feels
a lot of people
slow
think
though
like
to
de
me.
facto favourite. I'm
That's
just
like
gonna
my
quickly
only
get
big
into
problem
that.
with him. I feel like his movement speed is lower than
Gen G.
other people
Let's
I've
say about
played.
Gen G. I would say that it's back to form now. I think a lot of people were talking about how Gen G were a team that you couldn't trust going into best of fives in spring. They kind of
Okay.
proved their doubters
Who do
wrong
I need
in
to survive a
some
long
of
time
the-
with?
their-
Pugnala is the first one. Okay, so we'll play
They're a
Pugnala on
team
this map.
where
Try to do
they
that
kind
stuff.
of hit you very, very hard, but if you manage to show resistance, sometimes they struggle to break teams down that are able to.
Okay, so this
resist
time
them, right?
we're just gonna try to get strong
handle
and then
their-
go
their
try to
laning
kill the
phase.
boss.
I mean, obviously, it's people will place.
Which
their
is
blame on
usually
Sophie,
what I try to do.
but
I just
think
focus
it's
on
really-
gathering as much XP as I can
I
and
think it's just-
staying
sorry.
alive.
No,
But
I think in terms of placing the blame on Chovy,
I don't know if this
Chovy,
person's
look,
weapons are
he
good or
really
not.
underperformed in that semifinal versus
I tried
DRX,
upgrading
but
them a
he
lot on one
underperformed
run
for
on,
all of Worlds, and he was pretty stable.
I don't remember what that map's
consistent.
called. Whatever the map
think
was I
the
was doing a
pressure
minute
really
ago.
got to him in that moment because we saw him revert to, you know, pre-Gen G Chovy, where he seems like he's playing with
Magna
blinders
Capella
on
or
at some
whatever it's
points
called.
in terms of macro.
And that didn't
Won't
seem
join
that
his team,
good.
Isn't listening to them, but
one
also
second.
like. I mean,
Check my
we have
phone.
to talk about Peanut and Doran just massively underperforming because they
Bum,
were
bum,
much
bum,
bigger
bum,
problems
bum.
throughout the entirety of Worlds. They beat Damwon kind of in spite of Peanut and Doran's performances in many ways. And then when it comes to the actual, you know, the next stage in the semifinals, it was the same. It was the same thing again. And I think the burden on Toby was just too much.
I don't really like any of these. What does
Especially with
Skullomaniac
how those games
upgrade?
were going and how frustrating it must have been to see like Doran dying
Song of
in lane.
Mana.
He
Okay, we'll
just
pick that
tunnel
up
visioned
because
he
I'm gonna
thought he
try
had
to get
carry
the Song
game
of Mana
himself and
upgrade
that
because
he
I
couldn't
haven't had
rely
it
on his
before.
teammates. And I don't know how you solve that because that was the old Chovy way, and we saw that mentality really change, I think, with score coaching and with Peanut shot calling over the course of this year. But if that's what happens when the pressure is the highest, it's not a good sign of things to come.
Yeah, I think the other thing to say about Gen G is that they are a team that is very by the book, and they often rely on Peanut to do creative things sometimes, right? You know, sometimes you need to have variation. You know, you can't just do the highest percentage play on every single kind of play because teams know if they study you, they know how to adapt. And I think that this is Gen G's biggest weakness as a team. Like they'll try to do things by the book, and they rely on certain individual players to take initiative, to go to kind of break teams down that understand their setups, right? And that I think is the biggest loss, right? So Peanut obviously didn't play well. Like I'm not gonna defend Peanut here, but it cost Gen G a lot more because of their reliance on him to be that kind of X factor in the late game, right? Because of the champions he's playing.
How do you
But
upgrade
here's the
Gadio
draw.
Mari? That's another
Obviously,
one I
of
haven't
the other
upgraded.
problems they had was that
before.
when Peanut got into a really tricky
Stone
situation,
Mask.
he was in the semi-finals. He was thinking,
We'll try that one
this
too.
happened to me last time. Like I was in a game 5 of a world semi-finals. Like, I need to sort of what can I do differently? He turned to his coach and he said to his coach, what do I do? But the problem is his coach was Score, so Score just went, fuck Defano, mate. And then he saw it went. So there you go. You know, what can I tell you?
I mean, that would have been an awesome storyline as well, actually, for Score to.
Oh, yeah, it would have been awesome. He could have redeemed all the demons. Instead,
I'm
Peanut
so
gave him
sad.
more demons. Exactly.
I'm so sad. I really wanted Score out of everybody to win Worlds, just because his one shot at it with like real shot at it with KT ended so unfortunately poorly against IG, and then of course IG just goes through semis and finals without losing another game, and that's why we need double elimination, guys, for matches like that. So I mean, if you guys want, super boring finals where the best two teams face each other in quarters, then I guess you love single elimination. But
Single elimination
exciting,
sucks. TI is so much more
and
interesting
There's a reason why.
because of it.
Speaking of, there's a reason why this finals is probably the best finals in League of Legends history. It's not because it was the cleanest, guys. I mean, realistically, DRX probably should have not taken 5 games to win this series. They should have absolutely won game 3, where they got 2 Barons stolen against them, including the second Baron where there wasn't even an enemy jungler alive, which makes it even more confusing about how they could possibly lose that. And then even some of the games where it took a long time to win, such as game 5.
I don't feel like this person's weapons are very
Baron
strong.
steal occurs. And it wasn't, it wasn't necessarily the cleanest series of League of Legends that we've ever seen, but it was really fucking exciting. I will give you that. It was thrilling to watch that game because of how crazy it was. But I think
How do you upgrade the Shadow
realistically,
Pinion?
we probably, if we had double elimination, we probably would have had another good finals along the line. It only looks good in comparison to the crap
Try
finals
that
we
too.
normally have in this esports.
Okay, I got all my
Tell you
weapons.
what, if we're also talking about people who have,
I need
like,
wings.
this was
I
a
need
big promoter in
armor.
this world.
I need the
Faker,
stone mask.
obviously, T1 as
And I need
this was his chance to be
the
king of
tractor
fucking
orb
League of
thing.
Legends. Obviously, the Gen G players. You can go down the line. I'll tell you who I feel sorry for. No one else out there sparing a thought for this guy. Can you imagine being Fion, having to take that 75% written Faker wins his 4th Worlds title, and just with one tier coming down, just put it in, not even just put it away for next year. He knows there's no next year. Just putting it into the fucking shredder. You know, that first paragraph, you have to understand he's had 10 cracks in it. The way he would describe the way he killed Ambition as he was doing the Kazakhs evolution. You have to understand at this point, it would be like Barishnikov. He has mastered his craft. And all he wanted was this one last magnum opus to send him out on top. And DRX had to ruin it. Fucking Pioshik, little Pioshik from the LCK, had to ruin the whole thing for everyone.
It's all right. I think he can just swap his narrative.
And the
pretty
item for
easily
the
to,
guns?
I mean, he loves the underdog angle.
It's
and, it is special for Deft to win this. Also, Deft
these
is
things
now
called Vento
2-0
Sacro?
over Faker
No, that's
in
not
major
right.
international tournaments because he won with EDG
I
in
don't
the
know.
first MSI
I don't remember what it's
in
called.
2015. If he wasn't the reason why they won, but it was also another insane 5-game banger where it ended. The game 5 was they baited out Faker's undefeated LeBlanc and then ended up beating it with Pawn's like mid Morgana counter.
I don't remember what these guns are called,
fun
so I can't look up what I
series,
need
like,
for them.
Now that we've had 2 like 5-game bangers in international finals that were 7 years apart, it's pretty fun to think about. You know, those 2 players' histories. There has been
Fiera
some good
Dirt
ones.
I think
Fellow.
also it's Deft, right? Like nobody can hate Deft. You know, when they beat EDG on Weibo, they're not. The fans aren't even flaming EDG like they normally would.
Tiragisu. Okay, so you need the revive
It's
thing.
Tons of people say, "Oh, you know, we didn't want to lose, but if
Okay.
it was to anybody, I'm glad it was to you, Deft." You know, things like this.
Nope, we're good.
It's just.
I am looking that
it's,
stuff up because it'll take me
just
way
can't,
too long to
right?
figure those out on my own.
He fought his way to the end. He got his.
And I just want to see
final,
what those look like.
he managed
That
to
is one
get
thing
the
I want to
final
do before this game is
Good
over.
for him.
So if there's ever a
Also,
weapon
by the way,
evolution that I can't
actual
think of, feel free to give me that
MSI
information.
Spawn, one of my greatest video titles of all time, which is, it wasn't just like, I'm critical of Korma the coach. The title of the coach, Peter,
Oh, I remember
was,
this.
Korma is ruining esports history.
Because of Easy Hoon.
Because he put Easy Hoon in for like 2 of the games or whatever. Like, fuck, I know. And the best part is, are you ready for the punchline? That actually got back to Korma. That was the title. I love it. Because
Also,
obviously in that scenario, you think you're just like on the other side of a TV that they can't hear you when you shout at them, can you?
I've said before too, but Koma also gets really salty about that stuff. He's actually one of the most fun people to drink with because he just goes, he goes hard, and he like his real feelings. He's very strongly opinionated, and he'll just talk mad shit when you're alone with him. Never do it, of course, sadly, in front of the cameras. But he is quite.
It will give you another weapon when you upgrade them
I've
too,
really
or
enjoyed
open
my
a slot
time
for a
speaking
weapon.
with him,
Oh,
and,
cool.
He certainly would get extra salty about that, Thorns.
By the way, before we move on from Worlds, one last thing we should ask about, because obviously EG was there. I wanted to know what you actually thought of how EG played, because
Need
even
wing.
though it's going to look like
That's
LOL,
not what I
crap,
needed.
you know, like
Oh,
in
I
all
grabbed
those
a
games
wrong
that we watched,
upgrade.
there was
Son of a
a
gun. Now I'm not going to get to
GG
upgrade
games,
one of
there was, like,
these.
moments in these games that were looking
Shit.
Yeah, I think your strategy.
That's
coming
annoying. I was
into
trying to
this
get the
world was very
wings, and I
interesting. Like,
accidentally
you
hit
were-
the space bar on that.
Hilariously, now in retrospect, your
Darn
early
it.
Varus picks. Actually, I
Oh,
wasn't
well.
even thinking about this. Now in retrospect,
What
your
the
Varus
hell?
picks, like, are actually kind
Why
of
do the gems look like
prescient
this?
In a way, given the way that we saw the meta evolve from in the semis and the finals in particular.
Did
where
my
Varus
game
all of
bug
a sudden
out?
Becomes the
Or is this
highest
normal?
priority champion in the game. Now, part of this is because like. What's cool about Varus is you can either play the lethality poke build, and you can play the on-hit tank buster attack speed build. So you have he's useful in many different kind of situations.
Is
that
this
you
a
can
bug?
Pick him blind, and you can either deal with heavy frontline tanks, or you can deal with Squishy simply by poking them out.
Buggy.
very
This is a new
strong
one.
wave
I've never
clears as
seen this
well.
bug before.
Few answers to him, like kind of decent wave clear. But this is your early Varus comps. I thought were
That
cool
is
because you were
surprisingly the
using
first time
these
that's
pick
happened to
comps
me.
and using kind of forcing a lot of early dragons and like getting to like 3 like soul points, and then I'm like, come on, EG, like kill JDG, like you just got to get this one more dragon, and then you like fuck up your setup and like let them into the dragon. Like, no, you have to poke them first. It really broke my heart because I thought your early game scripting was really quite entertaining, and your draft
I don't
picks
feel like
in
I'm
the
strong
end, I
enough.
think you guys really redeemed yourselves with the Varus. So let's start with
Feel
that.
like I'm gonna die
Why
again.
did you guys have this priority on Varus before anybody else knew that this thing was good?
I mean, firstly, you've got to give credit to Rigby, right? Like Rigby is
Oh, for sure.
has spent the entire year kind of smurfing and drafting in LCS. He was even drafting, putting us in positions to win at MSI as well.
Probably should use my
Yeah,
banish
obviously
and skip more
situation with
often.
Varus is, we knew it was strong for all of the reasons you just said, but also it was pretty hard in the current meta to fit engage into your comp, right? So this is one of the reasons why you saw Ashe being played. It's one of the reasons you saw Varus getting played. And yeah,
Especially conditional engage like Verisult, where you don't have to commit.
yeah, exactly. So this is.
I'm gonna die.
Varus. Also, it was very good against Mad Lions because it's good into depending on support matchup. You can take it into Draven. It's good into Kalista.
I'm gonna try to get up here and get to this chest if I
and,
can.
In the right support matchup. Sorry. And yeah, no, I mean, it's obviously a pick that Carry is very comfortable playing. So yeah, it was good that it was meta. Fortunately, we weren't able to close any of the games out against the major teams, but it was definitely a good pick for sure.
And then when it came to your strategy, because you guys were very good throughout the year about having like clear game plans, and especially like it felt like you guys really scripted out the first 5 or 10 minutes of the games a lot of times. Was that the plan coming in here as well? How did you approach some of these like team compositions that you guys were using?
So what I would say is that the team compositions. So what I would say is that the difference between EG and LCS and EG and Worlds was, so a lot of our situations in LCS were situations where we would play with 4 people to one side of the map, right? Playing. It's not like it's playing to kind of cheat on weak side, right? It's like aggressively contesting opponent's strong side in a way that will force them to lose tempo in a trade side situation, right? That is the standard EG kind of.
I really need a weapon evo.
And obviously, this is something.
I need some chests.
Takes a lot of time to build synergy. It's something that we didn't do that well actually at the start of spring.
I feel like I'm too far along in the game to not have a weapon evo.
And I think there wasn't quite enough time, because in those situations you need 2 things from your AD carry, right? Number one, you need your AD carry to know when not to group and when to like kind of drop the center way, drop mid lane in order to go and push sides, especially around Herald situations, because there's times where you're supposed to win and there's times where you're supposed to miss, but also it requires you to understand as a 4 what your limits are in a situation where you're contesting 45 and weak side, right? And I think that, you know, EG going into Worlds, we're playing a very different style of play where we were playing more group as 5. So I think we had to adapt a lot to that in draft. And, you know, again, going back to Varus, this is another, you know, Varus is a great group as 5 champion. And I think that's kind of something that was different from EG. Did we play it at 100%? No. Could we have, you know, done better with a bit more time? You know, maybe. But I think our group was really tough for sure. In terms of matchups as well for EG, I'm just disappointed with that. You know, we weren't able to get 2-0 over GT. That's what I would say about that.
What was your experience? Because like, were you scrimming DRX a lot?
Yes. A lot of things that Jojo was playing.
I think I'm dead.
The more Korean mid laners Jojo plays against, the more respect he gets for LCK as a whole, I think, because obviously he came in being he's the biggest Trophy fan in the West, and you know many people will say, "Oh, I'm the biggest Trophy fan," but this guy literally used to like live Trophy. He would like watch Trophy VODs all the time.
Need a weapon evo. I don't think I have anything upgraded enough to get there though.
Over the last 2 international tournaments, his education over different types of
bad weapon picks. Thanks, dude.
Really valuable. We scrim DRX a lot.
Is that where the set counter?
Appreciate it.
Silas came in.
That's something that
That's
that
hilarious.
actually worked really well in scrims. It's something that actually wait, who was it?
I think this guy's weapons suck, honestly.
It became part of the internal scrim meta.
I mean, maybe if you get it evolved, it's good, but
Now I wish. Fuck, man. Now I wish that Faker had pulled out the Silas in finals, and then the set counter pick would have come out. That would have been extremely entertaining.
Yeah, for sure. I wonder if he picked it. I wonder if he would have picked it though with Worlds on the line, considering the inconsistency of some of his other teammates. But no, we scrimmed them quite a lot. I would say we probably scrimmed more than any other team, because the problem is that play-ins, it was basically impossible for play-in teams this year, right? Because if you like, EG flew out, so
I would love to know which weapons I should have picked that would have been better, by the way. Because you just saying bad weapon picks, boy, man, that really doesn't help me at all.
And then like had.
I'd appreciate it if you like, you know, told me which weapons I should have picked instead of the ones I did pick. Like if you would look at the choices that I did have and be like, oh, you could have picked this in this situation, that would have helped. Just saying bad weapon picks just makes me feel shitty and doesn't actually help me like learn what I did wrong.
Yeah, exactly. It was
kind of like wasted feedback.
It was really rough. Like this year, the scheduling for this year has been very, very odd. Like going into MSI, we had like.
I feel like these are like decent weapons. It's not like they're terrible. I just didn't get the ones like it would have been a lot better if I would have gotten more of this upgraded and this upgraded instead of all the upgrades I have on these. I don't think these are even I don't think these are that good. I don't think projectile weapons are that good. Maybe I'm wrong, but
and you know, I understand
no, the cat message did not go through. I don't see anything about the cat.
So it was definitely a very odd year. So
yeah, to put this in
I think the cat is good if you can get upgrades on it, but if you don't get any upgrades on it, yeah, it sucks. But you need to get upgrades on it so that it can make its like the AoE that it makes. The AoE that it makes is disgusting.
I don't know why it was like,
but I got no upgrades for it.
Also, like very weird things such as the LEC took a week off after.
But I don't think it's just the cat that's the problem. I think like I upgraded these guns first, and I think that's the problem.
The scheduling this year was quite strange.
It doesn't seem like these guns are really killing that much.
To the end of playoffs and the start of Worlds.
And they definitely aren't killing anything strong.
Sometimes done that in the past. Like when Worlds was in EU,
cats need chicken and they scratch you. There isn't any chicken. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So that's what makes them make the AoE zone. Okay. I thought they like ran into each other or something. I didn't know what caused that AoE zone. Okay, so cat's bad on this map specifically. Got it.
Disadvantage that Worlds being in NA had for Western teams.
I'm so dead.
Go to Eastern regions and scrim to get.
That's really stupid to design that weapon that way. Where the cat needs the chicken. That's kind of dumb. I thought it was like a cat fight. So here's what, like, without looking it up and not being able to tell what was going on, I assumed that if two of the cats like ran into each other, they had a cat fight, and that's what that like scramble was. That's what I assumed, which I think makes logical sense.
Not making new champs, it wouldn't reduce the already large barrier to entry.
But I really couldn't. I couldn't tell what was causing it because there's just so much on screen. It's hard to tell.
To strike this balance between onboarding and an ever-changing game. So they need to figure out how to get Smurf accounts out of that system. I don't know how you do that. I think it's really difficult, but I think that you need like a newbie lobby or a newbie ladder system that you can somehow keep the Smurfs out of. If you can have that, then I think it'll be a lot more fun and pleasant for people to be able to do this game.
Tie it to people's phone numbers, probably.
I said this years ago. One of the biggest problems League of Legends has, I think, is just people's ego entitlement and, quite frankly, being selfish. They invented a mode called Normals, and no fucking person uses it except for when they're trying to play with their fucking cousin that they don't want to ruin the LP with, or like the girl that they're trying to date who's in the fucking gaming scene. If you've never played a champion, why are you first timing it in solo queue? You should play a bunch of normals. If you just want a game for fun because it's going badly in your solo queue games, play a few normals. Like, why the fuck is normals like We act like it doesn't exist. And so what happens is
It's pretty
you have all
true.
these dickheads in fucking bronze or whatever, and we're just wasting everyone's time playing a game. And they're like, that's why when they do that thing, this is the one thing I'll never agree with everyone on Reddit on. You know, when they all go, wow, so toxic. It's just a game, bro. No, that's normals, dickhead. Go into normals and you
Yep.
can do whatever you
I
want.
totally
If you're
agree.
playing in my
The
solo
cats
queue
will
game,
still
I'm
fight,
playing
but they
a,
eat the
by
chicken and do
definition,
more
a
damage. Oh,
competitive
okay.
game where we're all trying to
to
climb
know.
and get better. So it isn't just fun that you pick some stupid shit like new top and then fucking feed the lane, is it? Like,
Yep.
you actually ruined the game. So the problem is they've sort of built already the pressure release valve. Just no one uses it, sadly. So I don't know how you get around
Yep.
that, mate. Because everyone just thinks
I have a
"Yeah,
million
Dash."
messages.
I
Hold
think
on a
it's
minute.
an unenviable problem. I think it's there are probably a lot of very smart people. At
The
Riot
drill
trying
is
to
also a
solve that
low damage
problem,
weapon.
and I
It
have
looks
no
cool, but
fucking
doesn't do
clue.
much. Okay.
Rally.io is having a lot of problems lately. Can you explain how, if at all, this affects, and if you're thinking about alternatives? They're switching their bridge out account right now. But guys, here's the deal. If we do something else for these questions, we will tell you in advance. We're not going to rug pull you. You will get out first, etc., etc. So just calm down. Which of the following takes infuriates you more? Bengi is the hidden goat. Marin carried Faker, or Bang is greater than Uzi.
Here's the joke.
Those
And
are all good.
people are going to think this is mad, right? All of those were popular takes on Reddit at one point in time. All of them. Those were, in fact, at one point, the groupthink consensus. Every single one. They really were. It's wild, isn't it? Because now the joke is...
The whips
we
are
can
best
all
for
laugh
Bone
now
Zone
and
just
look
'cause
back
they are
and
a
go,
source of
most people
healing.
give up
Okay.
easy stuff on those. Those
I
were
haven't
the
used the
takes back
whips
then, for
much.
sure. So I have to
Are you
say
talking about like the
easiest one
electro
for me
whip
is
or the
Red Bull.
regular
That's
whip?
the easiest of them all.
That's the one that infuriates
both.
me the most, because it is.
I really
talking
haven't used the
about,
whips very
you know,
much.
Faker, who is inarguably the
Um,
greatest player of all time, and trying to.
There's not that
really,
much
like,
healing that I
dim
can
his
get access
flow is
to.
deeply offensive.
I guess
The same
this
thing
would
we
be
said about
good
Marin carried
because
Faker,
I
but
have
Marin
these
was
two.
amazing in his own way in 2015.
Other than that, it's
And
like
Bang
Gold
greater
Fever's
than Uzi is
okay, but
crazy,
I kind of need to
but
get
at
stronger.
least I think now with Deft winning Worlds, I would actually now.
I think this is
rate
the best
Deft
I can get.
above Uzi on the
I mean, this
all-time
would make
ADC
stuff
list.
explode,
That's my take, at
but I'm
least.
not gonna have like any of these
Um,
weapons.
So that one doesn't bother me.
And
as
I'm not
much.
really gonna have any of these either, but
I
whatever.
already had Deft to #1 before even he won this, mate. Don't
Oh
give a
shit!
fuck. Don't give a fuck. Look at his body of work. It's unbelievable.
Hey man,
It's pretty hard to argue with that longevity.
I think now it's almost impossible to argue.
Yeah.
Among the greatest players in esports, who had a particularly sadistic fetish for humiliating and demoralizing his opponents to a point the losers would consider retirement?
I don't know about the last part. Like, it's not a fucking anime, mate. No one's retiring because of law.
If I can get a Labora, it might save this run.
An obvious one.
The Evolved Whip and Blue Whip
you don't know,
combined, I believe.
Forgiven,
Oh,
like played
okay.
scrims the way he would play those matches.
I
where
have
he's just
no
trying to push
idea.
you.
I
don't
haven't
think
used the
people
whip.
get
Like I
this.
said, I haven't used the
Forgiven's not an
whips
idiot,
hardly
by
at
the way.
all.
He does know you would win way more games without pushing the lane. He does it because he's trying to show you I can push your.
I'm just
lane
like I'm not
comprehensively.
killing
Even if your
anything, man.
jungler
I'm
comes,
just not doing
gonna
any
tell my jungler
damage.
Not to come. I'm gonna kill your jungler, and I'm gonna push your lane in even more. And the second, either you're gonna be like a bitch under the tower all day, or you're gonna have to go base, and I'm gonna take your tower. Like the whole thing was about mental destruction of the other bot laner. He never even like that story I've told on this show. Is
Seems like you don't get that much
pipeline
experience
people.
on this level
That story
either.
I've told about the reason he wouldn't play.
Like
certain
it's all
champions
blue
is
gems
real.
that are
Like, the
dropping.
reason at one point, Monty, he wouldn't play Kalista before the very end when he did in H2K, even though it was really good in China, and even people like Uzi, I would have carry games on it with him, mad damage. Here's the reason why he said, because he said, who the fuck would want to win like that? So he was like the coach, the orders we were talking about in NA. It wasn't enough to win, Monty. He had to win in his exact style and in a way that showed the other.
You also
laner,
picked the
not
weapon
other
that
team, the
needed
other laner.
Skull.
I'm
Skull
way
is
better than
buffing
you.
your
You
enemies.
better
True.
understand that. And, like,
You're
this
not
is the
wrong
guy I
about
even know
that.
stories of where when he would play
That
agents
is
and
also
scrims,
true.
They would be playing like it was a scrim, and he was like, "Okay, motherfucker, I've been training my whole."
Which
He was
one
like
needs
thing,
the
I was like,
skull?
"Conor
Is it the
McGregor, you be taking my
pinions
whole
or is
fucking life
it
from me,
the
motherfucker."
cat?
Like this guy was just.
I think the stone mask is the cat. I think it's is it the pinions that need that?
It wasn't even about winning the game. It was about sending a
Shadow
message. The meme was real.
No, Shadow Pinions wings.
Okay, thank you.
Which one is the
for
skull?
The Asian drama.
Oh, Song of
recommendations.
Mana.
Look at those. That's
And I didn't
not a
even
question,
end up.
but
I didn't even
yes.
get the
Is
weapon for
Peanut the
Song of
biggest
Mana.
choker in LoL history.
Yeah, that was just a bad
Well,
run.
the joke is, here's the biggest joke. Death thought he just got out of that convo, dude. He used to. I think he used to be the biggest choker ever. Because
Then you get to 50th Pagdala, Demario, and Porta.
I
After you get to 31 in Mad Forest, I didn't realize I hadn't done that.
At every single fucking world's like. the amount of times this guy's gone to Worlds.
Porta and Demario. Oh, I hate Demario. He's the worst. He's so slow.
He's definitely up there.
He's definitely a candidate. Also, any of Score's teammates.
I don't know if I
playoffs
want
where Score
Porta
just could play
either.
super well, and then his team
I think I'll go back to this guy.
But I mean, he's up there. I thought Peanut, especially after showing a lot of mental resilience in terms of coming back in that Game 5 versus Dom 1 in the spring playoffs, the way that they dominated the summer playoffs this year, I thought maybe he was over it, but then I watched Worlds and was very disappointed. It is a long-standing tradition that junglers tend to stop going for aggressive plays as much in their latter years. How come laners don't follow this phenomenon?
Have you ever met the mid laners, dude? They all start like, I'm Bjergsen, I play Zed and Fizz. Do I fuck? I play Victor and Orianna, baby. They all become that. They all become that guy. The mid laners definitely become like that. I mean, the joke is, look at this World's Finals. You know what Monty was talking about earlier? If this was like 5 years ago, of course Faker would just be like, oh, you play Silas. No, motherfucker, I play Silas. In this time, he's like, no, I just hear my, listen, give me his.
Bone Zone is one of the hardest, level 2. It's not the best to do for high levels, yeah.
I think actually most players do. The problem
kind
is
of
this,
figured.
Like, in my opinion, when you're young, it's the concept of beginner's luck in a way. When you're young, you don't know what actually the consequences of losing these matches are. So you go, fuck it, why not just go for my strength? Yeah, I'm going to be ballsy. Yeah, give me that pick. I'm going to dominate this guy. The older you get a bit more calculated. It's like, let's play this smart. Like, what would be like the most consistent by the numbers way to play? I think that's just a natural progression of getting mature, isn't it? Isn't that like a young man to an old man transition?
Sure. Yeah. I agree with that.
All right, we'll try the whip.
Upset of all time?
What upgrades the whip? Is it regen or is it max
What
health?
are the biggest
I think it's max health,
That sounds like
isn't it?
some baller off-season content. The biggest upsets
Hollow
in
Heart,
esports history.
okay.
It's certainly the biggest one in
think
LoL, but we'd have to
max
talk to
HP
Thorn
one, I'm
about
pretty
that.
sure.
Wolf brought up.
There'll be some in StarCraft for sure. Don't
Yeah,
worry
we
people
talked
who
about
did Royal Roaders, remember, who come from nothing and win the whole championship for the first time.
Right. Wolf mentioned Byun, who is the first teamless guy to win GSL as well, was a massive upset. So there are some. There are some. In light of Deft having won Worlds, how would you rank these title wins as the most satisfying to have watched as a fan? Deft winning Worlds, Oda winning LEC, Kerrigan winning the Major, and Score winning OGN. Man, those are all great. I loved all of those, and 3 of them happened this year.
Here's the problem with that. I would have to say out of all of those, the easiest one is Kerrigan winning the Major, because if people don't know, Deft won, but it's not like he was the best player on the team, and it definitely wasn't all about Deft. Odoamne won, but in a supportive role because he's a classic weak side. But you know what I mean? Here's the difference. Kerrigan won in the #1 team when all the pressure was to win, when he'd never won in his whole career, and he was a massive part of them winning, like how he called, how he fucking attacked the situation. And even cooler, I always say this is why I'll probably do some content on it. He even won in exactly the way he would
Is
have
Rune
lost
Tracer
every
bad on
other
this
time.
map?
Like in the past, he would have
Because
been
it like
a
needs to hit
person,
stuff to
like,
bounce,
save call.
or does
This
it just
time
hit the
he
edge of
went
the
for it. It's
screen
almost
and
like
still
he realised from
bounce?
past chances, like,
Okay, it
maybe
just
you
hits the
never
edge of the
get
screen
another
and still
crack at this, so
bounces.
fuck it, when
Okay,
you're in
so
that
it's still fine.
scenario, instead of going like let the other guy decide the game, I'll decide the game. I'll go for it. So it was almost like thematically brilliant as well. He actually did it like there was. If this was a movie, that would be.
Seems
the
like the
final act of
whip
the
is
movie. We'd
actually
have that as
doing
the
a
last
lot
scene,
of
and then
damage.
It would just end when he wins the Major.
You are right, scriptwriter for next year's Worlds. What plot do you make?
But these are also
top
weak
this
enemies.
year's? Well, I think it's hard because I think Deft was probably the best player who's never won Worlds, and now that arc has completed, which is fabulous. I think it'd be very hard.
It's okay, it's usually hitting something.
To top this.
Yeah.
And it would depend on which teams end up being created.
I don't know. I like the Rune
it's hard to know
Tracer. It
without
seems
knowing
like
what
it
the
does a lot of
rosters some
damage.
these teams will be.
I don't think I
would
want
love
any
to
of
see another,
these, so I think I'm gonna
Griffin
banish the
style,
cursed
like,
item.
Rookie team.
So I don't think
on
I
the
want
up
to
and up
curse.
Suddenly come out of nowhere and like swoop in and be able to actually do real damage. Because Griffin,
I think I'm gonna get
obviously
fooked
couldn't
if I do
live
a
up to their
curse.
potential when they went to Worlds, but another narrative like that coming out of either China or Korea would be really quite fun.
Right, here's mine. Here's how you make it sexy. So first of all, a classic trend to make an epic storyline at Worlds is it has to be a different LPL team that wins. Because since you haven't seen them win yet, it's not like when you see the great Korean team go back to the final. Like then it's expected. Like the damn one story was unsatisfying because they were supposed to win that Worlds. Of course they were. It was supposed to go back to back, and then it would be a dynasty, wouldn't it? So here's the one you need. The obvious player that still hasn't won is Knight, right? So here's what you need to happen next year. Because there's this whole shenanigans going going on where apparently like nearly all the players in RNG might leave, and there's some problem going on with the ownership, and there's apparently behind the scenes it sounds like everything's on fire. What you need is this. In the spring, they fuck up the roster. I've heard maybe Zhao Hu might get trapped there and not leave or some bullshit. Like, so everything goes wrong in RNG. And Top Esports loses the final of the LPL again. So here's what happens. Because Zhao Hu realizes, look, it just never works bloody out for me in summer, does it? And I've never got it at Worlds. I've won all those MSIs. I've never got it at Worlds. He humbles himself. He joins top and role swaps back to top lane.
Nice.
And as a top laner, he shot calls it. Him and Knight win Worlds. Here's the scenario, right? It's still, though, really tight because they've got all those aggressive players. And what happens is in the final, it's another 5th game. And in the 5th game, they're about to lose the team fight until Jackie Love jumps into the center of the whole fight and goes like Neo in the Matrix and kills everyone with like Zeri or something or whatever. And then they win off a Jackie Love attempted int. And that's how they win. And again, the movie
That would be
cuts
great.
to black. That's the end of the movie.
We also, to be fair, haven't gotten the Faker versus Rookie Worlds finals that we
So sad, isn't
richly
it? I know.
deserve.
You know, you know
we
what's
kind of
smart?
needed that one like 4 years ago and not now.
No, but that's also the other thing I've always thought to whack about League, unfortunately, is like, here's the thing. I don't think single elim's that great for that, because obviously you only get one chance in the playoffs. The only reason that's happened in CSGO, Monty, is because we had a way smaller scene. You only had like 4 or 5 teams that could win most majors. So yeah, we have had like, you know, the Get Right and Forest against the Fnatic guys, and stuff like Astralis against Virtus Pro. It's actually tragic in League of Legends how rarely you ever have like 2 of the top 3 teams just play in the final. It's whack, isn't it, dude? Like, like the joke is, Deft meeting Faker now was like, oh, cool, they met a 2nd time ever. Like, what? What? They had to play for 10 years to meet twice. What? Like, how are you going to make rivalries off that?
What was the best thing about this final? That Deft finally got the trophy, or that Joe Marsh didn't put his mitts in the cup? Mark Merrill / Brandon.
I hadn't
Beck
even
style.
thought of that angle. If I'd thought of that, Monty, I'd been a lot more consoled that we lost. It's just knowing Joe Marsh doesn't get. Oh, dude. Zeka, Pioshik, and Deft, you are legends. Because I hadn't realised, I hadn't even thought about it. Imagine how annoying Joe Marsh would get if they actually won Worlds on his dime, Monty. Oh my God, I didn't even thought about that. I'm so glad that did not. Now I'm glad that DRX won. Fuck it, yeah.
So to be clear,
Now
about
I'm
Joe
glad
Marsh,
the
I don't think Joe
DRX
Marsh
won.
is like a bad guy. In fact, I know he opposed a lot of the really crappy new LCK contract policies and everything like that. And I think he's done. I think he really cares about his team and his players. What frustrates me about Joe Marsh is that he claims credit for things that he hasn't done, and then also like, I don't like how he seems to need the attention of teenagers and is like in the Discord, like in the Discords being weird. It's just like, I want him to have more dignity, but I do think that I do think his heart's in the right place, and he does do a lot of good things. Or
It's just annoying is all.
Yes,
it's
he's
just
just
annoying.
annoying.
That's all. It's not the end of the world. It's just annoying.
But I don't think I think he is fundamentally a force for good within this scene. You have previously suggested that Crown was one of the worst players to win Worlds. How would you feel about Crown if he had won in 2016 instead of 2017? I
That
guess
was his best year. He was mega then.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of would feel the same regardless, but I don't think it's that.
Oh
big
fuck!
of a
He was
difference.
mega in 2016.
All right,
That was when his
all right.
Victor was like unbeatable.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
He was a stud that year.
That's fair. It was also.
So I think it would change his whole narrative. Yeah, it changed his whole narrative.
That's fair. If you're trying to predict World's performance, how good of an indicator was Summer's
I don't know what I want my
/
6th weapon
finals
to be,
performance
but I don't think I want it to be the garlic.
Not really very good. I mean, that's what fucks China every time. The #1 seed is the winner of summer, and what does it ever get you? Fuck all, it seems like, right?
Yeah, there was a big meta shift this time too between summer playoffs and Worlds, which is good because the Worlds finals was a lot better. And had we continued with that old format, it probably would have been much more
In
boring.
fact, here's a stat
than
for you,
meta.
Monty. I'm just thinking in my head. I'm pretty sure I'm right. I don't think. I think the only time, I think it was last year with EDG. I think last year with EDG is the only time the #1 seed from China, like the winner of summer,
Blue Whip?
made the final. I think it was just EDG ever. Because FPX wasn't there, and I think they'd won in.
So is it the Blue Whip that's good and not the regular whip?
Maybe FPX won, actually. I'll double check that.
He has some
think
examples.
they did
How
well.
good were Samsung White before they won in summer? They were not the. They
Or
were,
are you saying I need to
know,
get
they
the
lost
blue
to
whip?
Samsung Blue twice in a row in semifinals. Samsung Blue was the on-paper favorite for that year. I called Samsung White before the tournament started
You get a
because
so if
I
I
thought
get
they
the
had power
blue whip,
enough
it'll
and, like,
combine
had
with this whip
kind of fundamentally the stronger
and open
roster.
up a slot.
But Samsung
Is
Blue
that what
would
you're
have been
saying?
the on-paper favorites, so they wouldn't have been number one. SKT in 2013 was great in summer. Obviously, that summer final was the Faker versus Zed. Ryu outplayed. They were very strong favorites, so that tracked pretty well. Samsung,
Teams.
yeah, Samsung when they won, yeah, probably not that good.
Oh, okay.
That was a
IG
mega fluke. They weren't even supposed to get
Yeah.
through regionals that time.
yeah, that was huge. IG, FPX, Dom
IG was the
definitely-
second best.
The
team, if
guns will
people don't
combine
remember,
too when
behind
I
RNG.
evolve them, I'm guessing.
FPX, the meta shift.
Don't I need
really
the like
favored them
revive to
They
despite-
evolve
did
the
it all summer, it
guns?
turns out.
Yeah.
I don't know. This one
Dom
isn't
won
going so hot either.
also
I need to get a weapon
expected, I
evo,
would
but
say. EDG. I don't think that's that. big
I
of
don't have a
either.
weapon leveled up to where
yeah,
I need
but
it to
everyone
be
says
yet.
that now, Monty. No one was saying EDG was going to win. Worlds.
Getting to
I'm
the
telling
point where
you,
I'm
go
not
back, look,
killing
everyone said
anything.
FPX or fucking
Sure. I mean,
whatever,
FPX
you know.
really shit the bed in groups. That's true.
I don't know which of these is better to
Yeah,
try
I
to
guess
evolve
EDG was
first.
was kind of
honestly.
well, after
They
going over
both
those,
seem
like
meh.
50. Oh, also there's two different SKTs, right? There's 2015 SKT, which was by far the strongest team in summer, coming into Worlds, and then they won Worlds. Well, they only dropped 2 games the entirety of Worlds. One game. That's right. Just the one game. That's right. The 2022 Worlds meta was arguably the greatest so far. Was this Riot finally figuring out how to do their job? Was it a
Get whips
result of the
done so
teams
you'll
and
get
players
healing
present,
at
or was
10
it
minutes?
largely
Okay.
just a coincidence that happened?
Well, I will try that.
I think the balance was quite good. I don't know exactly. You in order to know this, you'd have to know what Riot's goals were coming into Worlds, which I don't know, so I can't say whether it was deliberate and how.
Think of the 4 teams, Monty, that made the semis. You had Jing Dong, who literally could just somehow always be behind and then win team fights, even with like 4v5s and stuff. You had T1, who played all those crazy pick comps and those weird like play inside out type scenarios. You had Gen G, that is just the old school, like win through just farm dominance and then try and just do basic macro moves. And then you had fucking DRX that was doing some like early game shit into like, if we get a foothold, then we just gradually power up through the game and win. Like, those are 4 totally distinct styles. Like, that suggests to me the game actually was super hospitable to like the players and the team can sort of pick how they play, right?
Yeah.
And as you said,
was.
a key thing you nailed that we didn't actually hit that much on the other episodes of SI at least is DRX also did have like a massive emphasis on going for the fucking dragons, didn't they? They were all about that approach to the game.
Yeah. And also, one thing we didn't talk about too is T1 largely abandoned those pick compositions during the finals, which was really odd.
That was a bit weird. That makes me wonder if they were playing DRX before the semis, and then they like sort of like thought, oh, they've seen us do this or something.
This will probably be my last run for
Because
tonight, and then I'll
I
probably
would
get
think
off
if you
because
could
it's past
beat
7
ADG
o'clock.
with those
I
kind of
usually try to be done
compositions,
streaming by
DRX,
7.
which is very much, as we
I
talked
know it's
about,
not that
with
long of a
being done
stream,
kind
but
of a, 4-1 or
if I don't start
Brutal, let's
winding
get it
down
done,
around 7, then I don't
dragons
get
or
to
their
sleep soon
objectives, like,
enough.
they could have deployed that.
Then I'm
same
tired
style.
all day
I
the
was
next day,
surprised
which
that
sucks.
We didn't see as much of that. But I think also it's a
I
combination
really need
of
to
the
get
meta,
one
but
of these to
also
evolve soon,
teams
I feel
really had a
like.
lot
Just
of different
something.
styles,
I need
especially
some
the good
weapon to
Asian
be
teams
evolved
this time around.
if I'm going to
The LPL
survive.
teams were all quite different from each other. The LCK
Oh,
teams
boy.
were all quite different from each other.
This
So I
isn't
think
good.
maybe it was just a lot of teams with unique identities combined with the meta that provided well. But I
There's just
can't
so
know
many, man.
whether Riot accidentally invented this meta or they were like, here are our goals, and then they're like, oh, these goals came true, because I don't know what their thought process was.
Maybe I should skip more? I don't
Who
know.
are the remaining active
Or
best
banish
players
more.
to never win Worlds? Jovi, Knight.
Might be better to just like skip or
I mean, if
banish
he-
until
if he
you get a
plays
weapon
again, Uzi,
maxed.
obviously.
I don't know.
Caps.
Sure.
Maybe that's
What do you
wrong.
think? Is there anyone else that's obvious? The problem is a lot of people have retired now, obviously. Like, there's no Smeb. There's none of those people. Let me think.
Like, just try to
Khan
go for a
retired,
weapon evo
obviously.
as fast as possible,
Who else would even be in the mix for this?
and
Is
then
there
worry
anyone
about
else
other
who else in the game
weapons.
done?
Maybe that's a better plan than my plan.
Yeah, not that are active, I don't think.
Please give me an evolve. I don't know if I have a weapon max though.
mean,
I hope
I
so.
don't know.
Probably like
It has to be the
Korea at
whip
this
or it
point.
has to be the Santa
Yeah,
water.
Korea,
Those
that's a
would
good
be the
one.
only ones I
Switch
could
out.
get
He's
right
still
now.
really young in his career.
These are the only ones I have this side thing
Depending
for.
on-
Double whip
I
upgrade.
didn't watch him as much this year, but Tarzan's pretty good. There's not that many, actually, to be fair, when you think it through. I guess a lot of them are retired now, aren't they?
Yep. how likely is it that Zeka regresses?
I don't think
More
anyone
like-
could keep that level up. Come on.
So more likely than not, this world's meta was hugely beneficial to him and his champion pool. Like, especially because the mid lane probably had the least diversity in terms of picks out of any of the roles that we saw at Worlds. And it
Evolves will happen when 10-minute. Oh, when the 10-minute chests drop. Oh, okay, that's right. You don't have to have the fully weapons fully upgraded, do you?
Oh, he
Is that
was
right? I
also,
can't
though,
remember.
Gifted his 2 champions being ridiculously in the meta as well.
That's
That is
what I'm saying.
outrageous. He just got hit in the face with the meta like that. And as you're saying, then people weren't even
Get away
banning
from
him,
me.
banning other positions.
I need to
The
kill
other thing
these
I would say
guys,
as well
but
is this.
I don't think I'm strong
this
enough
is where
to.
you can tell the people who don't watch the LCK, right? The unthinkable thing about that semi-final was that he actually like outlaned fucking Chovy. Like, I don't think you guys know. I can shit talk all other aspects of Chovy's game. I did for many years. I will never talk shit on his laning. His laning's he's like a robot that's like the perfect laner, and so that just will never happen again. That was like a once in a million. I can't even believe that happened.
I mean, look, man. I hope that I'm wrong and Zeka just transcends into like superstar status. I hope I'm wrong, but all signs I can't.
Yeah, the weapon needs to be
logically
maxed, but the
believe that
item
he is
doesn't.
going to
Okay, so
maintain
the
that
weapon
level
does need
because
to be
eventually he's
maxed.
gonna
Okay.
have to do it
I
on
thought
different
so, but I
champions,
couldn't remember.
and I think that will be very hard for him. But he also.
I mean,
is very
I'll
young.
get a
He's
weapon
only
evolve if I
19,
can kill something that
so
drops a
maybe
chest.
he's got a lot of.
Just
growth.
don't know if I'm gonna be able to kill something that drops a
tournament
chest.
form can be like internal of one
wings don't
tournament, and it
upgrade
can
any
be
of
ephemeral. I'll give
these.
everyone, if they know old school,
So we
Counter-Strike, a
skip.
very quick example. There was a player who played for a team called Jack's Money Crew.
Might
who
be
was like
better
an
to. It might be
underdog
better to
NA
just.
team, and he was
I
called
think honestly, I
Zig.
think
I'm
my
not even
strategy
remember
needs
that
to
name.
be
He's
like
not a
to
famous
just
player,
try
but
to
it's
max
story.
one
He
or
went to
probably
one
like 2
CPL
weapons
Monty, which
as
was the
fast
World
as
Championship at the
possible.
time in Dallas,
Just skip
and he
and
absolutely
banish
smoked
everything
them
that I
like
know I
Jordan
don't
MVP in
want.
this tournament. And the team came like third. They didn't even
And
win.
only
And
pick up
even in
like the
games
things
they
for
lost,
1
he
or
was
2 weapons.
absolutely
So like
smoking
here
them.
I
Now,
would
spoiler,
I could
it's enough
banish
years
or I
later.
could
I've
skip
heard
either of
tweeting on some
these.
shit, but okay, that's by the
I feel
by.
like that
But
needs
all
to
you
be
need
the
to know is
strat.
this.
I don't
He
want the
kept
shadow
playing for many years
opinion.
afterwards. He was on better teams. He was never anywhere close to that
I
player.
don't
That
want
was just absolutely a
Skullomaniac.
miracle. That one tournament, that 1 week.
I guess
he
I'll
was just
upgrade
out
my
of this universe, And then
guns.
after that, he was just a good player. He was just a good player. He was never even close to that level again. So it can happen, unfortunately.
Maybe that's
I
wrong, but it
also,
sounds
you know,
like
I
a good strategy.
suggested
Big
to
skeleton
Wolf,
has
I
a
was like, to
chest.
bring
The
back
skull should be
bring
arcane.
back, like the Brood War days. And after this tournament, like Zeka,
Please give me a weapon
calling him the
evo.
Puppet Master, I think is great.
I really need a
He
weapon
mind
evo.
controlled people. Like I couldn't believe he mind controlled.
Thank
Scout,
God.
just int him, like,
At least I got one.
1v1 in the last game versus EDG.
That might give
mind
me a
controlled
chance.
Chovy to
Can
lose
deal
lane.
critical
I don't
damage
understand
and
what it is
absorb
about this
HP.
guy, and unfortunately, we can't because we
Okay,
don't
that should
have
make it a little
replays and
easier
we
since
don't
there's
have
just
pro
so
view.
many
We can't
enemies.
really see what was
Now I
going
have
on
some
in
healing.
that lane the entire time, so we may never know. But it was weird that
Yeah,
a
this
lot of
seems-
players,
this
whatever he was
seems better
doing
for
was
sure.
baiting them pretty hard into having bad performances. Maybe just
Oh,
got
by the
lucky.
way, just because we forgot the name earlier, for people who are watching the VOD, the one name I forgot earlier was obviously Zhao, who hasn't won Worlds. He is
Yeah.
a three-time
Oh, yeah, for
MSI
sure.
winner, included
Yeah.
in 2 roles. So
Yeah, Zhao
I'll
probably-
put
I'll
that on
banish
the
the
list.
Laurel,
Zhao
I
is probably
think.
number one
He
in
might be
fact.
on number 1, yeah.
Because I don't care about it.
I'm starting to think DRX is a world-class team. Am I crazy?
I guess I'll just pick up like the cross
Oh,
for my
here's the
last
thing.
wepen.
Here's why you're not,
Good joke.
guys. You just watch.
I don't think
the
I
whole
banished the
tournament. Like, if you
clover,
watched that
so-
tournament, you would think that. This is a problem, by the way, that I
There's
understand.
that.
I'm just a weird person.
So that'll give me a chance to get the
Because
guns.
all of my analyst friends in Counter-Strike, even the guys I do the desks
Ooh,
with, and
chess.
talk to
I hope it's
privately,
not an
they
Arcana. I hope it's a
all
weapon
fall in
evo.
love with the romance of the last game they saw and the current form at this moment and the storyline. What
Darn,
they can
you
never
were right.
do
It's an
somehow
Arcana.
is sort of look and plot and go like, nah, that's a bit of an outlier.
Feels bad.
They all, if they can do that again in the next map though, Monty. They
I
can
mean,
do anything
Arcanas are
against it.
good,
They
don't
go-
get me
they go
wrong.
back down,
Projectile
lose the
speed,
next
but I
map,
feel
they
like
lose the
might be
third
good.
Convincingly, the favorite team goes. You know what I mean? Like, and the whole
Healing
time it
is
was that I
doubled?
understand
Hell
that's-
yeah.
Did I tell you? Did I tell
We're gonna
you?
do
Did I
that.
tell you? But the
I feel
problem
like
is,
that's
get
gonna
it,
make
like,
me
it's just
so
human
hard to
nature, people
kill.
Get caught up in the moment. It's understandable. It's why
I think
there's
I'm gonna
that
start
film,
making my
Prisoner
way
of the
down
Moment.
towards the
So you have to
boss.
escape
Well,
it.
you know, it's also kind
I'm
of
not
a joke
probably
question.
quite
Could go
strong
a
enough to
couple
kill it
different
quickly
ways,
yet.
but
I
He's
probably
trying to
need like
maybe
a
because
couple
that's
more
what I
weapon
did with
evos,
Simpson.
but
No, it's like humorous, yeah, or like me.
I'll just
for
start making my
example,
way that
you know,
way. I'm like
a
so
lot of
hard
you
to
guys
kill
didn't
now.
Watch LCK, you just watch DRX at Worlds, and you're like, wow, this team
Whip
is very
plus
good.
healing
But for me,
Arcana
here's what happens
seems
in
really
my brain.
good.
It goes, I watched all the games of DRX.
If I get the blue
and
whip,
then
will it still upgrade?
I have
Oh,
this
I should have waited to see if I
conflicting
could get the blue
knowledge that They
whip.
are current world champions, and my
'Cause
brain
now I
just short
can't.
circuits. Like it's impossible for these two states to be true in my head at the same
Unless
time.
the
And so
guns
that's why
combine
it's
to leave
very confusing.
a
But
weapon
yes, that's
open.
I think it's part of the joke is that you're
I think
starting
I'll
to
take.
that
Do I
DRX
want
is a world-class
Amarilla,
team,
it won't upgrade
because
anything
the
I
belief of
have.
that
So no.
makes me
Normally I
feel
would
like
want
you're
that
going
because of the
crazy.
healing
Like,
increase,
it makes
but
me feel like I'm crazy.
I want to try to get the weapon
great.
upgrades.
I mean,
That's more important.
It's an extraordinary moment in the history of esports. What would be the first thing you chose to learn if you had an infinite amount of time to do so? Well, I try and learn things.
I feel
that
like a
I care
language or
about.
something would be an obvious one, because if I have
Yeah.
infinite time, why wouldn't I? You know.
Yeah, sure.
So maybe like a really complicated language, like fucking Chinese or Mandarin
Sure.
or whatever, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
Korean's a good one too, obviously.
Or I guess for me, because I took more of a literary approach, maybe go back and learn a scientific discipline.
Just keep getting the max
like
HP.
astronomy or something like that would be quite
I
interesting.
think.
I think. I had to redo my entire education. I wouldn't change it. Like, I wouldn't just trade it for that. But if I had time to do both, that would be pretty cool.
Like, what's funny is I won't explain anymore, but I've actually found the
There's
one
the armor.
reason that I ever might learn Dutch. Because at the moment I have no reason to if you don't know. Like, the places I live.
Is that
everyone can
skeleton
speak
drop a
English good enough.
chest?
They even can do all your phone calls. And
It looks
English. Most
different
websites
than-
can even have an
it
English
looks
section, if not
special.
English, by the way. Dutch
I feel like it
translates
does,
fantastically
but I
through
can't
Google
remember.
Translate as well. It's all super accurate. So in theory, I have no reason right now to have to learn Dutch, but I found one reason I'm going to make myself do it. Here's why: because if I'm going to live here, it is worth. doing,
Yeah,
not
it
least to
seems
people
it seems like
me,
life
you
gain
know,
actually is
you don't
huge.
make them speak your language all the time.
You were
What
definitely
I'm gonna do is
right.
They actually turns out within European comics.
Okay,
there's a
give me an
really
Evo,
big Dutch
please.
comic scene as well, with where all the comics are just in Dutch. So not only would it be like the perfect excuse to do it, so I could read all these awesome
Nice,
comics,
weapon Evo.
which aren't like American comics, but they're not superhero comics. They're comics about all sorts of adventure stories and real. So they're also very different in that sense, and they're quite adult in that regard. Not there's no porn. I don't mean that sense. But like the other reason why is like. That way, I could. It would also be like it wouldn't be the hardest possible thing to start learning. I could start getting some enjoyment.
Yeah,
out
I'm
of
like
it
so
early on,
tanky now.
that's how I'm
Holy
gonna backdoor
smokes.
my way into
The
learning
whip is a
Dutch.
lot better than I thought it was.
There you go. All right, that was
Just
the last
'cause of
question.
the
We didn't have
healing.
many this week. We will be back, guys, with more off-season content. We are going.
Okay, I'm gonna start making my way to the
probably
boss
do
for
a lot
sure.
more. I would say
I'm level 50.
non-3-hour shows.
I need more
more
chests,
frequent
but
stuff potentially.
I'm not really
based
getting
around
any,
roster
so-
moves and everything. We'll get back to you with a plan on that coming up. We'll see if we have some longer episodes based around rosters, especially as some of them are officially.
Feels like I'm
announced, that we can
almost,
get
like,
potentially
invincible. I
interviews
just
with
don't do that
players
much
or coaches
damage.
About why that roster has been constructed. So we will be active during this off season, and we'll let you know exactly what's going on. So stick with us.
Probably would've
Obviously,
been
the
better to
best
get the
way do that is
revive,
to
but
follow Last Free Nation
I
across
feel
social
like I'm hard to
media.
kill.
A lot more short form content will be probably coming out on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter, everything like that. So go there, do that right now. Thanks a lot for watching.
Is that the
Subscribe
end
to
of
our
this
YouTube channels
episode?
As well.
Feels
We'll see
bad.
you.
All right, the end. Okay, I'm just gonna play the game now. This is definitely gonna be my last run for the evening, though, for sure. Oh, there's a special skeleton. He'll drop a chest. Let's go. Kill him. Bring him down, Legolas. I need to pick up all of these gems, too. I need the clover. Is that it for weapon upgrades? Is the clover the only one I need? Yeah, because my guns take up 2 slots, technically. So I need to upgrade the guns before I can get something else. Die, you stupid skeleton. Die. There's the clover. The more revives your character has, the better the gun's evolution gets. Oh, interesting. Okay. Good to know. I usually start with the 3 revive things, so I have the 3 base ones, although I don't know how many of those I have left. I'm not sure how many times I've died. Nice. We got Labora. Puggies. I love Labora. I don't know if it's actually that good, but it feels really good because it just creates like a constant circle around you that gives you room to breathe. We'll grab the revive instead of the armor. I think I'm already tanky enough. At least for now. Obviously, it'll get harder to be tanky enough later. I need to try to go kill the boss for sure now that I have Labora. I think I'm good to try. So let's try to run into him. I guess we'll grab armor. Bum, 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 bum. There he is. So basically, you just want to try to stay in front of his path so that you don't make him bigger and bigger, I'm guessing. And you're trying to kill stuff to keep him from picking it up. Seems like the strat. He's still getting bumped back, though, and picking stuff up. So, not sure if it's impossible to not make him bigger at all. It also would be really nice if my Labora was affecting him. Doesn't seem like it's wanting to as much. He's getting pretty big. I might have come too soon. I maybe just should have waited till I upgraded my guns. He will get huge, most likely. Yeah, that's what it's looking like. I guess I'll grab armor. Oh, shoot. I just, like, stood and got bopped by him for a second. Yeah, he's, getting pretty massive. Pretty massive. Jeez. Yeah, I think I came down here too early. Is this a problem? Is he gonna get to the point where he like covers my whole screen and there's nothing I can do about it, or will I always be able to outrun him? Cross, I guess. Be really nice if I could get a chest. But yeah. I definitely came too soon. He's as big as the screen. Oh my gosh. Does he get tankier when he gets bigger, or is it just bigger? Is that the only thing I have to worry about? Because this is dumb. I'm still just like not really taking damage, so I'm just not doing damage, unfortunately. He just does that unless you're an OP build. Okay. As long as I didn't screw anything up. I just don't feel like I'm going to be getting any chests either while I'm just barely staying ahead of him. So maybe I should get like further ahead of him. I don't know if does it even bring any more chests at this point in the game? I'm level 60. Oh, well, it has to. It has to keep dropping chests, right? Until all my stuff is evolved. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Bro, is this going to take like an hour? Because if this is going to take like an hour, I'm going to be annoyed. This is cringe. Just the tankiest boss in existence. Look how big those skulls are. Oh, he's going back that way. Did he hit the edge? Is this as far as he'll go? 20 minutes should be a chest. Okay. Is this as far as he went to this side? Is that what happened here? I don't really care what I'm picking up, honestly, on these. Because until I get another weapon, it doesn't super matter. Oh, I can't skip all of these. Okay, Pomerola upgrades the onion. Candelabrador is the Reaper Scythe. This is the wand. I feel like the wand might be good for this guy. Maybe I'm crazy. Sure. We'll grab cooldown. Because if I can keep him as my closest enemy, I'll constantly be damaging it. Bro, this is cringe. Okay, give me a chest, please. I forget that chests are on a timer. Hopefully he's not eating all of the... Oh, there's the chest enemy. Okay. Let's make sure. Oh, hello, Blue Grim Reaper. That is bringing the death stuff. Don't like that. Can we just please kill the skeleton quickly? So that I can get a chest and get a weapon evo? Please? Please? It's kind of hard for me to kill that Reaper with this build. Brother. Dude, this skeleton is like uber tanky. So I can't even keep up with the boss. Bloody tear? Oh, is this the infinite? Is this what the infinite looks like? It gives you like... These are like extra weapon upgrades instead of the chicken or the chest. Thank goodness. Think you killed the ball? Oh, okay. Oh, the sword one. That's not even the one that I wanted. Bro. So now what am I supposed to do? No, I don't think I did kill the ball. I think it just got away from me. I was waiting on this guy. Duration plus 100%. Yeah, I'm going to take that. Labora is just going to be perma. What the hell? That's disgusting. I think the boss just got away from me. There's the question mark is still on the map. Sure. Do I want speed plus 5% or area or pierce? I don't even know. I'll just upgrade the one that's evolved. That seems like the best choice. I mean, I'm just not taking damage. This whip thing was a good idea, especially with the healing arcana. It's disgusting. I'm just not taking any damage. I mean, I am, but I'm just healing it all back up before, you know, it matters. Might plus 1%. Sure. I mean, like, what else am I supposed to do on this map if the ball is dead? I don't know. I don't think I killed it, but maybe I did. Don't build the unevolved ones. They lose it after they evolve. Okay, so make sure to only put these into the evolved weapons. Got it. We'll gain might. I'm curious which of these weapons will have done the most damage at the end of this, since I've had them evolved for pretty similar amounts of time. Arcana. Didn't want an Arcana. Okay, what do we got? Overall growth, luck, greed, and curse? No. Picking up coin bags? No. Projectiles explode on impact? I mean, it'd work for my gun. Projectile speed. Let's just try this. Why not? Let's try the explosions. So I feel like for your builds, you want to get builds that the Arcana affects all of them. So like those are the weapons that are synergistic. So like if I wanted this Arcana to be really good, I'd want to get a build that had like all of those explosive weapons. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it's not actually that good. Yep, there's the ball. I didn't kill it. It just got away from me. Goodness gracious. Die. Please die. Is it moving down or am I crazy? It feels like it's moving down now. Is it supposed to move down? I can't tell what the hell this thing is doing. I know that I kind of need to be on the side of it, though, to hit it with my whip and my gun. Or, like, at an angle. I don't know. Dude, this is so stupid. This is the dumbest boss idea I've ever seen. I just want it to be over, bro. At this point, I just want this run to be over. That's all I want. I just want it to be over. This is stupid as shit. Bro, I'm never going to get to the edge, apparently. So I guess I should just stay down here and hit it with my guns. I can't tell if the whip's even hitting it. I can't tell if anything's really hitting it, to be honest. It's so hard to tell if you're hitting this stupid thing. This is so dumb. Oh my gosh. What a dumb boss. I'm sorry, but this is stupid. I get bigger and bigger until I get so big that I can't move. And then you just sit here and pew me for, what, half an hour now? Is that how long I've been hitting this stupid thing? Not that long, but, you know. I think about 12 minutes, something like that. I think I came down here around 12. Maybe I'm wrong. This is insanity. I need you to die, dude. We'll just keep upgrading our might, I guess. Seems like damage is good. Seems better than area, since I really just need to kill this one thing that just doesn't want to die. Let's get up here on this side of it if we can. Hit it with both. Try to hit it with both the guns and the whip. If I can. Bum, 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 ba-dum. Are there no more weapon evos, or 25 minutes should be a chest for guns? Okay. I hope so. So you only get a chest every like at those increments? It's interesting. Da, 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 da. I just assumed it was random. But I guess if I would have paid closer attention, I would have realized that it was happening at set times. Where is the chest enemy? Bloody tier area, sure. Hopefully, can he absorb the chest enemy? I hope not. Nope, there it is right there. The little skeleton, I see him. I see him. I can't tell how close I can be to this guy without taking damage. Okay, that close. So I can almost be inside of him. Just trying to hit him with my whip, if I can. Critical chance, we'll just grab might, and then we'll increase the critical chance. Gotta go get the chest. I'll be back, buddy. I need the gun, Evo. Hope he doesn't eat the bosses. That'd be lame. All right, the gun evolution. So now can I get another weapon? Union. Scales with revivals. Yeah, it looks like I can... What the hell is just these lasers? Bro, what? So can I get another... I should be able to get another gun now then, right? Or another weapon. Sorry. I said gun, but weapon. I'm getting tired. I'm getting sleepy and my brain isn't working as well. Bro, get back here, you stupid boss. Thank you. Oh, he's going this way again. Okay. Start walking away from him. Killing him with my lasers. I am Protoss. I fire lasers. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. No, am I not... Oh, no. Did I not kill him fast enough and now I'm gonna die? Magic wand. No. Not good, Patrick. Not good. My healing isn't strong enough anymore. These guys are too strong. I'm not killing them. No. Oh, no. Not good. Not good, not good, not good. Air is not good, Patrick. Air is not good. I'm not invincible anymore. Yes, I need gems. Give me gems. I want to upgrade my magic wand, even though it's really not going to help me that much. I'm not invincible anymore. No. No, I'm not invincible. Not good. Bro, does he ever die? How long does it take to kill this guy? This is absurd. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. No, I'm gonna have to do this again. I don't want to do this again. I'm definitely not doing it again tonight. But now at least I have a better idea of what I'm doing. Bro, what am I supposed to do to this fool? I mean, they're just... Nothing is dying. I am just not doing enough damage now. Not good. And I'm losing damage when I lose revives. Oh, man. Air is not good, Patrick. I need to level. I don't think levels are even going to help. I don't think the wand is going to help me that much. Sure, base damage. Oh, my gosh. This is absurd. Dang it, and I got away from him now too, so now I'm not even damaging him, and I'm taking all this damage for nothing. Not good, not good, not good, not good, not good, not good. All of my weapons are evolved, except the wand, and I'm still gonna lose. Feels freaking bad, man. Lame, dude. At least I reached level 50 with Pugnala, so I did something. All right, that's it for me. I'm hopping off. Thank you for stopping by, Corpse Grinder. I appreciate it. If you would like, I would appreciate it if you would like the stream and subscribe to the channel so that you would be able to see when I go live. I'm trying to stream every day. We'll see how long that lasts because there'll probably be a day where I just don't feel like it because of, yeah, life. But, all right. That's it for this stream. I'll probably see you guys tomorrow. Peace.